Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM, Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God.
When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Mason and Ireland to join Travis and Slee?
Super Crosstalk begin.
It's time for Super Crosstalk.
So this is exciting. I thought that Andy Kamenetsky was my only brother in arms for 90210. John, are you a sneaky 90210 guy?
Travis, 3 words for you. I choose me. Fun fact about 90210. That show was created by a guy from outside the D.C. area who went to a school that I used to date a girl who went to that high school.
Darren Starr?
Winston Churchill High School in Potomac, Maryland is what that thing is about.
One of the creators,
And if you know anybody who went to Churchill, all right, you know that place was nuts. So
all right, so
one
of
of
my
those.
first celebrity sightings when I'm working in San Diego and I get a job in L.A. and I go to the cleaners, and there's Nat from the Peach Pit, Joe Tata.
Joe E. Tata. How dare you?
He had to put the E in.
Was there another Joe Tata out there?
Yeah, because they couldn't clear the name, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I don't think I missed an episode of 902. You know who knows more than me about 90210 is Trudell.
Does he really?
Trudell's like you. That was his thing.
I've never seen it once.
It was.
You've never seen it
all do
even
a
one
podcast.
There is very little color in 90210.
Once again, I asked the question: are there any black people on the show?
I'm trying to think.
Okay, I actually
Unlikely.
I know the answer. The answer is yes, but not
in a
very
good
many.
situation.
Not very
Okay,
many.
all right.
Yeah, Brandon befriends one late.
But they have the
finds one on the side of the roadside.
Kinda. I mean, it's not great, Clinton. I'm not gonna lie. It's not.
I
a
think
great
I'm good
moment.
on those archives.
He,
Okay,
he also had a black girlfriend for I think one episode
was
as
it?
well. The actress?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
I know
probably
the answer
one
to
of
this.
5
no,
people
I
total.
I know the answer to this.
You know?
Her father was John. You help me out here. Her father was like a popcorn. He was like Orville Redenbacher. Okay, he had this chain of popcorn stores. They were
In
super,
real
super
life?
rich. No. In
Okay.
the
In the
show.
show.
Okay.
In the show.
But I don't remember who played.
The dad was a popcorn
Magnate.
magnet.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
And she was the popcorn heiress. And they got into a fender bender.
I'm trying to get Bergman to meet an heiress.
Yeah.
Can we find her?
Yeah, you guys talk. I'm going to find this.
What a
out.
love story.
All right, okay, so here's Trav will probably get this, but what Academy Award winning actress had a guest stint
I'll
on
let them give it a
90210?
shot.
Either one of you guys know? Emily,
idea.
you know?
No, I wouldn't know.
No idea.
Brie Larson?
No, Academy Award winning actress. I think she's won 2 Academy
I think
Awards.
you're right.
And she had a stint on 90210.
No clue.
Hillary Swank.
Hillary Swank.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Olivia
great.
Wilde had a cup of coffee on 90210.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you guys are all right. Valerie Malone, Tiffany Amber Thiessen at the height of her powers on 90210.
Sure.
Well,
Yesterday, Trav, I was walking
cooking show.
peer-to-peer, Manhattan Beach to Hermosa, and I walked by the blue and white house that is still blue and white that
Oh,
Donna
no kidding.
and Kelly lived in at the end of the series. Still there. You can still rent it.
When do I sign up for the 90210 Star Tour
Well,
with you guys? Give me a
Is
party
that
bus.
was then the character's name or the actress's name? He's saying Charisse Robinson. I think that was the character's name because it's a famous
I don't remember.
actress.
Yeah, I don't remember
it's a
this.
okay.
Sidebar, I did something this weekend that I have to tell you guys about.
What do you got?
So I went to the Real Madrid Juventus.
Oh, you went?
Right, at the Rose Bowl, 93,000. Janice was there as well. She can tell you a little bit about it.
Okay, question.
yeah.
Have you been
Yeah, I've
to
been
the Rose Bowl
hold
with
on.
that many
I-
people there
no,
before?
I had not, but let me explain
Okay.
what happened. So I was coming from a day of partying, and I was meeting somebody there.
Okay.
I was meeting a date there. So I wanted to make sure that I got there on time, on some level of on time. Ubered over there from the Hollywood Hills. Didn't go terribly. Ended up having to walk down a hill because the roads were blocked off. No big deal. I got there at 7. The game started at 7. The person didn't get there until halftime, Ireland, because the traffic was
Traffic was
that
awful.
Date?
I
Yeah,
could
Penny
have.
showed up
I
till
could
the
have
half.
warned. I could have warned you about this.
Oh yeah, I didn't need any warning. I knew what I was
cannot
dealing with.
get in and out of the Rose Bowl in any decent amount of time.
No, it's
Not even
just-
close.
It makes
doesn't
Dodger
matter.
Stadium look like a breeze.
Not even
it's
close.
the worst parking situation that there's. Usually in is a little better than out. The answer to the question is Vivica A. Fox. played
Okay, see, I
Brandon.
knew
Yeah.
it was going to be somebody super famous. Anyway, so the game goes on, no big
So
deal.
she shows up 45 minutes.
Yeah, and mind you, well, this is the question I was going to ask you. If this is a person I had never met, it was a friend of a friend of a friend situation, What? And normally, see, here's my move.
Was she
normally.
texting you saying I'm
Yeah,
stuck?
yeah. There was back and forth, but this is part of the discussion. Normally, my move at games like that, where it's exhibition, not really of any real skin in the game regarding who I care about if I don't know any of the players, I'll get there early, watch the first half,
and then bounce.
Halftime, do a round around the stadium, and bounce. So I had to explain to this person, now that you're here at halftime, we're going to be here all night. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, our entire evening is going to be in Pasadena.
Was she? Did she feel bad?
She felt terrible. She was a grown woman, and she was like, "This is beyond amateur." And I was like, I was considering leaving, like, just so we're clear.
So,
I did not leave.
Let's cut to it. You gonna see her again?
Hold on. Hold on. So here's what
Inquiring
happens.
minds.
Is that I know, but we've got minutes to fill here. So I walk. We left, and I'm like, look, let's get out of here like 75th minute. Maybe we can beat a little bit of the crowd. Mm-hmm. That to no avail, Slee.
Really?
By the time we get out there, there's gazillions of people out there. There's no Uber lot.
Well, they already benched their starters. It's 2-0 at that point.
It's 2-0. We're done. And I'm thinking, man, am I really going to sit in a parking lot for another 45 minutes with this person I just met? How are we going to do this? And she says, how about we just walk to Pasadena? And I was like, you know what?
That's actually a really good idea.
I don't hate that idea.
That's a really good idea.
You got to hit a hill or two.
Half hour, 45 minutes?
About half hour, 45.
Yeah.
You got to hit a hill or two. It's legit cardio.
Yep.
At this point, we're in a – and the funny thing was I was complaining about how everybody on Bumble is apparently always hiking. Everybody wants to do is hike. And I'm like, I don't want to hike. I hiked. You just basically from the Rose Bowl to downtown Pasadena.
She failed
on
in
Saturday
getting
night.
there on time, but that is a great idea because taking that hike to Pasadena is a much better experience walking than it is trying to get out of the Rose Bowl.
Honestly, and we walked out of there,
Bars,
got into a
restaurants.
bar, and found a seat, and like probably half an hour after we got there, tons of people started flooding in from the
those
game.
people that finally
who
got
drove.
their Ubers finally got out of there.
Exactly. And we were just sort of
Absolutely.
looking at each other like, all right, well done. So, note to self. If
So
you have,
answer the question.
what?
Are you going to see her again?
Likely so.
Yeah, it sounds like he is.
Yeah,
it sounds
so.
like he is.
All right.
Possibility.
Yeah,
good
definitely
work
on the
right
table.
there.
So that went well.
How close? Like you said, okay, I'm getting close to leaving. Like literally, if she did you have that? I'm waiting 5 more minutes and I'm bouncing.
No, I said if you're not on the grounds or within earshot, just turn around. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, no, I'm stuck in the middle of it. I can't turn around now. And I was like, oh, God. So I have to wait. You know what I mean, at this point. And it was pretty funny, though. So, yeah, note to self, Rose Bowl. Get there early.
Yeah,
Especially that. It's such a unique event.
Or you'll leave late. Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's a UCLA Oregon State game, you're not getting in and out of there.
That's a breeze.
Yeah,
then you
get
can
right in.
show up
They
whenever
pay
you
you to
want,
show up,
leave
right.
whenever you want.
It was a good time, though. Cool setup.
How did you spend your mental health day?
My mental health day, I spent it on television talking about Bill Russell
You
and
worked.
Deshaun Watson. Yeah,
All right.
that's what I
I don't know if
spent
that's
it
good
doing.
for your mental health.
No,
You
not
did not
exactly.
get your day.
Not exactly. But to your point about retiring Bill Russell's number, which you were talking about
Yeah.
earlier, I'm not going to lie. I don't love retiring numbers across the league. I actually don't think that that's cool. I don't really think it's necessary. I get why they did it for
Wait a
Jackie
minute.
Robinson.
Is there another one besides Jackie Robinson?
No, but
in
just
any
in
sport?
general, I don't
Not that we
really,
could come up with.
I don't really think of that as that is not much of an honorific to me. You know what I mean? Like I get why they do it and I get what it has, but I don't need that for Bill Russell. Is what I'm saying.
It feels. I don't know. If they did it, it's like, yeah, okay, it makes sense. I don't think anybody's going to kick and scream about it, but it doesn't feel like something that the Jackie
Well, there aren't a
Robinson
lot of
thing is
people that have
wonderful.
worn number 6. I mean, LeBron now
LeBron
wears
has
it.
LeBron
Yeah.
has it.
It's a very old school number.
Yeah.
Single digit numbers that are above 5.
Where
are
the referees
very-
have to use 2 fingers.
Exactly,
Yeah.
are very rare in NBA basketball these days.
So how surprised were you that Juan Soto's on the Padres?
Not
at all.
I think A.J. Preller had to do it. He's 12 games behind the Dodgers. They have now, arguably, assume for the sake of this discussion that everybody in the league is healthy.
Okay.
I think they have the best 3 players on any one team. I think.
about that.
I don't know about that.
I don't know
bro.
about
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. Who has 3 better players?
They're gonna
on
say
the
Dodgers.
Who?
Yeah,
Freddie,
Freeman,
Marcus,
Betts,
and
Turner.
Trey. Yeah,
Marcus.
yeah. Marcus Lynn Betts. I mean, come on.
All right, so you'd
Played second
rather
base, played a
have
little second base this
Freeman,
weekend, too. You know, I love
Betts,
that.
and Turner, and now, assuming everybody's healthy here, then Tatis,
Machado,
and Soto. It's close.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
It's
100%.
Okay,
Well, I said
but
this
put it
today.
this way: it's a legitimate conversation that was
It's-
not there
hold on.
at any time.
Everybody in the 3 on the Dodgers has a ring. None of the other 3 do.
Soto does.
Soto
I mean,
has.
sorry, Soto.
Soto
I mean,
has.
that's Soto. That's outside of Soto. I mean, like, and I don't think.
Yeah, but if you were building a team, Clinton, the ages of the
The
Padre
futures
guys.
That's fine,
of the
but
Padres.
right now-
But here's the thing: there's the top line guys, which I would say the Dodgers have a slight edge on those top line guys that you're talking about. But once you get past those three guys, it's a Dodgers in an avalanche
I
after
would
that.
agree. I would agree.
It's and the top is close enough. Even if, John, if you think the Padres are better, they're not better by a huge margin. And you win those playoff games with those depth guys.
The Hader pickup was a big part of this, though, too. I think that was huge for the Padres. People sleep on, sort of the pitching, the staffs. You get the most lights-out closer in the game. That is a playoff move. That's not a pennant race move. That is once you're in the postseason, you want to have a guy that you can go to, even though I thought Taylor Rodgers was pretty good.
Explain to me why Milwaukee did that.
Yeah.
They're in
one
first
reason.
place.
Here, hold on. I'll tell you. Hold on.
All right.
Keep talking. I'll show you.
So I think the idea is they already have
This guy.
Yeah.
Devin Williams, airbender. That's why. Because they got him and they got Taylor Rodgers. They've got a closer if they need a closer. Devin Williams, first-time All-Star this year.
Right, but
Good
they're
dude.
going. But I guess my question would be: there's a chance they could meet the Padres in the playoffs.
So awkward to
and
see that.
now
That never
Josh
happened.
Hader's going to pitch
Yeah.
against him.
That's fine.
It kind of reminds me of when the Dodgers got cold feet about Aroldis Chapman,
Yep.
and then he mowed him down in the National
the
League
Cubs.
Championship
Yeah.
Series.
Well, it's that was the move that I thought was the most. And again, what do we got here? We got 2 hours, so something could still happen.
Yeah.
But that the Dodgers didn't address that, I think, is interesting. That the Padres did go and get Hader. That we saw some other guys in the back end of the bullpens move around. That Kimbrel has been mediocre. He hasn't been a disaster, but he's been mediocre. And there's guys on base, there's traffic the whole time. That was the spot that because their lineup is fine, their depth is fine, their starting rotation I think is fine. That last guy in that spot, not so fine.
well, and remember they're getting Trinan back.
That's
so
the key
maybe
here.
with
I
their-
think you look
maybe.
at Trinan as
Maybe.
basically a pickup. Dustin May's also involved in that potentially. They think he's going to get innings. I mean, I feel that the guys coming back off injury for the Dodgers effectively serve as midseason pickups or late-season pickups for that matter because they haven't played so far. That's just me.
I think what it does, I think the Dodgers are still going to be your favorite to come out of the NL. It puts the Padres in a conversation that they may not have been in. And John, to your point of what you just said, Tatis hasn't played a game yet this year.
Exactly.
You're adding Tatis and Soto with 2 months left in the season. The Dodgers don't have to do it, and they didn't have to do it, and they didn't have to give up all those minor league players to go get him. The Padres kind of did, right? This is last year there was, remember when Rosenthal put out the tweet that Scherzer is basically coming to the Padres?
Yeah,
It
that
didn't
got
happen, and then
fumbled,
after that, they had one of the worst records in Major League Baseball the final 2 months. Felt like they had to do it. The Dodgers, with or without doing it, are still going to be the team to beat.
So Sliwa and I are doing an event at Harrah's SoCal.
Harrah SoCal. North San
not
Diego.
this Friday,
Yeah.
following Friday.
Can you
Okay.
explain to me what that's going to be? That looks fun. I won't be able to be there, but what's the setup there? What are you guys actually doing?
Well, we're going to do the show. We're going to have lunch with some listeners. We're going to
10
do a little
listeners
top golf.
plus a guest. We'll
We're
do
going
some
to
top golf.
I'm considering a lazy river run
Oh,
through
wow.
the thing. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
All
if
right.
that's-
So that's what's there. Like I'm not familiar
Yeah.
with that location.
So this
Top
is my
golf,
question.
yeah.
But
Nice.
the big event that Chris kind of came up with here in the last hour or so is everybody's piling into Sliwa's room to watch Netflix on his bed.
I saw that. Yeah,
so
that's
you
gonna
guys
be
ready
fun.
for that? You guys ready
On
for
an
a
iPad,
Sliwa
right?
Netflix
on
night?
Chris's iPad.
Yeah, I'd love to be there. If it
Just
was
a little
any
busy.
other night,
Yeah, he's
but
just
that
a
night,
little busy.
What if we move it for you? When are you free?
I'd love to be free on any other night.
Emily, this has shades of Camp 710. Just to be
Yeah.
clear, as to
Trav
what's
is
going
very
on.
adjustable
Everybody
with the
piling
date.
into the same room.
We'll
Yeah.
accommodate
Well, I just
your
want to make sure
schedule, John.
everybody's available to come. I just want to make sure that we could get all of this.
That
stuff
sounds like
in at
fun.
the
Is there
same
going to be a
time.
little gambling on the Top Golf stuff? I know people like to do that.
certainly there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. The gambling. How do you gamble on Top Golf? I've done Top Golf.
I'm
but
going to
never
hit
with
the
gambling.
pin. Give me $30.
Well, yeah, you could-
You can hit the pin.
or
You
He runs
whatever.
his own,
you know,
he runs his
$30.
own market. He's got his own.
I mean, there's a bunch of targets
own
there.
bookie.
You
Yeah,
can,
the
you can
target
gamble
stuff.
on shots.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
it's not hard to come up with gambling at Top
I
Golf.
should maybe start to hone in my game a little bit. I could go there and run a little bit of a side hustle. and
Add a
make
little
few
action
bucks
to
a
the
little bit. Why
proceedings.
not?
Exactly,
Why not?
you know?
You should come, Yates.
I won't be in town. You know where I might be? I might be in Myrtle Beach throwing out the first pitch at a Pelicans game.
Oh,
It's
nice.
they're having
Isn't that the weekend of the Field of Dreams game? Field of Dreams
I
game
believe
is
it is.
August 11th. What date are you talking?
the Field
about?
of Dreams game?
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
the day
that's that
before.
weekend.
It's
Yeah.
that weekend.
So
Yes,
you're not
it's
going
that
this
Friday.
year to that?
The Field of Dreams game?
Yeah,
The
No.
Reds and the Cubs.
That's in August?
yeah.
Huh.
It's like in 10
Yeah.
days.
I didn't realize that.
Did you
Yeah.
go to the first one?
I was at the first one.
Was it as cool as it looked on TV?
Not really. It's a baseball game on a farm, so it smells like manure and mulch.
But it looked great on TV.
It
did.
looked okay.
It really
Like,
did.
all
It
that,
looked
amazing
all
on
that
TV.
wood paneling were stickers. You realize that, right? Like it's not like they built some old school thing. Like they built a whole other ballpark next to the actual farm.
The game itself was terrific. The
the
atmosphere
game was
felt
It was okay.
like, look, if you're
Yeah,
telling me it was
like-
played between cow patties,
No. I'm just
that's
saying.
not great,
like,
but
no.
it looked
Okay,
great.
think about it this way. It's not like you can teleport in and out of there. It's in Davenport, Iowa, bro. You got to drive 2
Yeah,
hours
you're talking
from
about one way in, one way out.
insert Rapid
Yeah.
City here or wherever,
But I would
Grand
go to
Rapids,
so-
Cedar Rapids, whatever.
To have an event like that once a year, I think that'd be pretty cool to go to. I think John, we were talking about this about the Drew League and Rucker Park. There's
Right.
certain experiences that you get to see professional athletes. I thought that event was awesome.
This word
was
has a
okay.
negative connotation, and I don't mean it to, but they're stun events, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
but
can-
that doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother
like,
me
I like
either.
that hockey game they play
amazing.
outside every year.
The
on
hockey
New
play a
game
Year's
bunch
they
of
had
Day.
at Dodger
yeah.
Stadium a few years ago was
Yeah.
one of the coolest things I've ever been to in my entire
Sure.
life. I'm not anti-stunt. I'd be there.
No,
for
I'm
that.
not anti-stunt either. I just thought it was – I was there all day as well, and I realized that, like, the cool part was being there when nobody else was there because you could look at everything else. Then all these drunks showed up, and I was like,
Have
oh,
you ever had to
great.
call a game in one of those, John? Have you ever had to, like, cover an event like that? Just
Trying to
something
think.
totally out of whack?
Yeah, I mean, probably the weirdest thing is the Lakers played and it actually got called off because there was a safety issue, but went to a small town in Arkansas to play when Derek Fisher was on the roster.
Okay.
Going back to his hometown, but then there was some issue we couldn't play. But that's probably the closest, like never an outdoor game or anything.
I thought Sliwa was going to have flashbacks to the San Diego game.
Better than the
again.
sports arena one, right? Where
Well, they used to go there every year.
I know.
And, I joke all the time. If you watch the movie Almost Famous, the band Stillwater does a concert at the San Diego Sports Arena, and they didn't have to change the sports arena at all to retrofit
No
it to
set
the
dressing.
70s. No, just said, show up and do it. It's all the same people.
I got to go figure out which streaming platform 90210 is on because I
Oh,
have a
Morales
scratch on
knows.
the
He was just
itch.
telling me.
Yeah, well, I'll ask him.
Yeah,
I will
he's
know,
got
'cause,
it.
Look, I'm
Yeah.
I'm thinking like I'm going to dive in like season.
What if you have to
4
pay
and get-
$3.99 for
I'll
that?
get somebody's
service?
password. It's what I do, Slee.
Bergman.
These guys, the password
Got 'em
guy.
all. Yeah.
There you go. I got it covered. Mason and Ireland is coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm not going to bring it up because you have so impressed me.
No,
Jorge,
I deserve to be
Jorge,
proud.
hit
Go
an
ahead.
applause.
Go ahead and give it to me.
No, I don't. I'm past it because your knowledge of 90210 today has been incredible.
Now, I'm trying to remember one of the great highlights of my stay in L.A. is I get to KCAL.
Okay.
And I start playing in a Tuesday night pickup basketball game in West L.A.
Yes.
And Luke Perry's in the game. Couldn't
man.
have the late, great
Man,
Luke Perry.
that's-
Could not have been nicer. And a very shifty left-handed point guard.
Really?
Sliwa. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, very
Ginobili-esque, if you will.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Yeah,
We do a lot of yacht rock on Live Imaging Tuesdays on
Good.
this show because of John and I being
Yeah.
besties.
Yeah.
It might be a 90210 Tuesday. You never know.
Could be.
I'll
Plus-
have to bring it on. Drum up on my 90210 knowledge, of which I
talk-
have none.
I know we've got more coming up, but you talked about your date
Yes.
during Supercross Talk, and I just wonder, we've got to find out what the consigliere Julian thinks about.
No, Julian wasn't there, was he?
Julian
Clinton?
is out of town.
Are you sure?
Julian on
Have you
date.
talked to Julian?
I have not
Julian,
even told him about
you won't believe about the date. All of that is ahead. The biggest show on the radio, Mason and Ireland, begins for your Tuesday right now.
At it.
Hey, it's an MLB trade deadline Tuesday.
Big day in the big, sir. Correct.
And you and I sat here.
Yes.
I'm glad you're here today because you are the resident Washington Nationals fan.
Okay.
Here at the
Expert
station.
is probably better. Those are
Yeah.
the teams of my youth. I'm over them, but go on.
Okay, you and I were like the last holdouts. We were saying they can't really trade him. They shouldn't trade him.
Well, yeah.
Are you surprised they traded Juan Soto?
I'm not surprised they did. What I said was they shouldn't, which I believed because I just didn't think it made sense considering how, I just didn't think they were going to give it an honest effort in terms of what the final days and months and whatever it was going to be of Soto's career were. And it turns out they ended up getting a pretty big haul, so that's fine. But the other thing I said was if he goes anywhere, as far as baseball is concerned, John, the Padres are the best team for him to go to because that triumvirate that you mentioned, Machado, Tatis Jr., and Soto, I mean, that immediately rockets to the top of the table as maybe not the best three players on any given team, but certainly the most fun to watch pairing, or rather, couplet, whatever you want to call it, triplets, that you're going to have in the bigs in terms from a viewer standpoint.
Yeah, they if they stay healthy, that is a middle of the lineup that's as good as anybody in baseball.
Absolutely, and I think that they're going to be a team that a lot of people nationally gravitate to simply because they got fun guys. That happens all the time.
All right, so the trade deadline ends at 3 o'clock today, and unlike in past years, Clinton,
Yep.
this is your only shot. There's no waiver deadline this year. Remember Justin Verlander a few years
Right.
ago cleared waivers, and they were able to Houston was able to somehow finagle him away,
Yeah.
and it helped them win the World Series. That's not an option this year. They got rid of the waiver. So if you don't make a move in the next T-minus 1 hour and 43 minutes,
Yep.
you can't improve your team. Although I don't know if I expect anything huge. I think Soto was the big bomb to drop, right?
He's got to be. I mean, I don't think Ohtani is going to be moved at this point. If something happens with Shohei, that's a different discussion. But I think that in terms of teams that are still on the fringes of getting into the playoffs or figuring out what they're going to do from a playoff standpoint, this was the big one because it legitimately affects the postseason.
All right, so the Dodgers did not get Juan Soto. They did not get David Robertson, who just got traded. They did go out and take a flyer on Joey Gallo. Bergman, I don't hate that they're giving Gallo another chance. It's worked for him before. It worked with Chase Utley. It worked with David Freese. It has worked with – they've gone to Clinton, former All-Stars who had faded out. But here's, Greg, why I don't get it. Who goes to the minors? Are you really going to send James Outman to the minors? I mean, this kid has done nothing but hit. Are you sending Trace down? I mean, who's going down?
He's a lefty bat and Trace is a righty bat, so you're probably going to – it might be somebody like Jake Lamb who has a better –
Why? Jake Lamb's been great.
He's been great. I like Jake Lamb, but at the same time, he's just a guy that's going to come up late inning games. He's just going to show up. He's just going to be a guy like off the bat like Jim Thome was a couple of years ago.
Right.
It's not really this massive
it's
pickup
not that
by
I'm
any
down
means.
on – I'm not down on Gallo at all. I just want to know who –
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. He's not good.
I mean, why
love
not
this
take a
pickup.
flyer? But who instead of who? I mean, if it's Lamb, I don't like it. If it's Outman, I don't like it. If
He's
it's Trace, I don't like it.
Well, Outman's been good for his 2 games that he's played in,
Right.
but I mean, who knows what he's going to end up being outside of that? He was fantastic in those 2 games,
Right.
But he's also a guy that's going to go back down at some point. He's not going to be on the postseason roster. The idea is that Joey Gallo has the power. He's the power bat that you need, the left-handed power bat that they were looking for.
Well, he's hit 40 home runs before. He's been an all-star 2 times. Matter of fact, we could make the argument, Clinton, that each the Padres and the Dodgers acquired a 2-time all-star outfielder today.
Yeah, but
if you really want to spin it.
Gallo's so bad he had to apologize to the fan base in New York. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. He literally said, "I have not lived up to expectations, and I'm sorry for it."
I don't know why this is a thing, but I'll just say that it is. There are some guys who just can't play in New York. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's been going on forever.
Right.
They'll go to New York, and for whatever reason, they don't hit or they can't keep going.
Guy was getting booed by his own fans. Yeah.
Right.
He could barely play in Texas.
Right. Well, no, he was good in Texas.
Yeah,
He
I wouldn't
made
call
the
him
All-Star
good.
team twice, hit 40 home runs one year.
He
What do you want?
He made the All-Star team twice because you have to have an All-Star on every team. Like,
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
Joey Gallo is not this massive bat that we're all excited about. It's
I'm
just
not-
like a hey.
I'm not
All
losing.
right.
Okay.
losing
Do
sleep on
we
the scouting
think
report
the
over him.
Dodgers are done, Greg?
No, I think they're still going to do stuff. I mean, there's still an hour and a half left to go.
Hour and 40 minutes.
Sure, yeah.
I mean,
They'll do something. They're going to get some stuff from the back end of the bullpen. Maybe they'll get another frontline starter. There's a guy named Pablo Lopez who I don't know much about, but in Miami, he's their number 2 starter. He's supposed to be fantastic, been really good. So there's guys that they're going to go after, but I wouldn't expect some big splash moves.
Reminder:
Maybe JD
the
Martinez.
Dodgers are good.
They're
You
great.
do not have to retool. And I know that everybody talks about, well, the Dodgers are always in the hunt. I know. But the team is good. You can walk away from the trade deadline if you're the Dodgers feeling fine about the current state of the roster, in my personal opinion, because A, Tryon is coming back. B, May might even get into the mix. Like, this team is fine for me, Ireland.
Chris Taylor's going to be coming back soon.
Taylor's coming back as well, exactly.
And by the way, someone also mentioned that the Dodgers traded Garrett Clevenger, so that opened up a spot on the 40-man roster. Gallo just pops right in.
Gotcha.
Nobody goes down.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I thought the 40-man doesn't start till September.
Yeah, it's going. I don't even know if they changed that actually. So
I think the 40-man doesn't
it
start
opened up a
till-
roster spot in general, so he should be able to be on there.
Meaning nobody has to
Not
go
a
for
40
Gallo
man.
to come.
Yeah, he's going to be able to just nobody has to go down. He'll be there.
In terms of what I was just reading Keith Law, and Keith Law says the haul that the Nationals got for Soto is as big of a haul as he's ever seen since he's been covering baseball. But Clinton,
That doesn't mean anything.
correct.
Like,
I'm with you.
I
I'll give you an example. Brandon Marsh was the Angels' number 1 prospect before they brought him up last season. And he played okay, not great. Okay, this year he's been struggling a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Today they just traded him to the Phillies for a double-A catcher.
Right. For a bag of jalapeno chips.
Right. You can, and I know it's Keith Law's job, and I respect Keith a lot. You can say, oh, they got an incredible haul of minor league prospects, but they're prospects. How many times have we seen? I mean, Greg, remember all those guys that they sent in the Mookie Betts trade? Everybody thought, well, Alex Verdugo is going to be an all-star. He's been struggling all that. Jeter Downs is going to be Jeter Downs might not even be a major leaguer.
Not much longer. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's up right now and not doing all that.
Right. So to me, you always take the bird in the hand. I think the
Absolutely.
Padres got this. And by the way, Josh Bell's hitting 300 with 15 homers.
Josh Bell is a very good first baseman in the major leagues. It's not just a bird in
That
hand.
career year.
It's not a bird in hand. It's one of Travis's peacocks flying around, making all kinds of noise, looking great. That's what Soto is. This is not some average apples-to-apples situation. So, of course you were going to – exactly.
You knew that was coming.
Of course you were going to get a haul, but you're never going to get a replacement for Soto. But for the Padres, I know there's a lot of Dodgers fans out there that are like, oh, Padres, just another first-round elimination. Okay, I get that bit. But the bottom line is this team is for real right now. There's no way to talk around that, Greg, in terms of the talent on the roster.
Yeah, I don't understand the Josh Hader trade from Milwaukee's perspective. Clinton, you mentioned
They don't want to pay him. I mean, he's coming up on a deal.
Yeah.
And they have Devin Williams, so why bother?
Yeah, but he's right-handed, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could have gone lefty-righty here.
But no, they got Taylor Rodgers back. So they got Taylor Rodgers back from the Padres. So they're going to probably go lefty-righty at their closer position.
Yeah, so there may still be stuff happening. We'll keep a close eye on it. 1 hour, 35 minutes remaining in the trade deadline. One of the things we'll cover coming up here, the Angels elected not to trade Shohei Ohtani. Good idea or bad idea? And we've got a bunch of other stuff that we're going to cover today. Clinton's in for Mace. Mason and Ireland, ESPN LA. Today, it's Clinton, Yates, and Ireland. Mason, you know, when everybody got a free day off yesterday, Mason said, wait a minute, I can't only take one day off. I need a day off that no one else gets.
Everybody got a day off. I didn't get a day off yesterday.
Yeah.
Your boy was talking on TV.
So Clinton's here, and we're glad he is on baseball trade deadline day. Hour and a half left. All right. I'd be surprised if the Dodgers don't do anything else. But as you point out, Clinton, they're loaded. And they probably don't need to do anything else. If I had to pick a team to win the World Series right now, regardless of what happens in the next 90 minutes, I'd take the Dodgers.
I think so, too. I think they also get a couple guys back, so that operates as pickups. You know, those look, Blake Treinen coming back is huge. I think that it's huge not just in terms of, you know, what he can offer, but in terms of what they need. You know, that situation at the back end of the bullpen is not great. And I think Treinen, at the very least, provides a little stability there, hopefully, in terms of what he can offer.
All right. I don't know if I can properly articulate, and you're a good person to have this conversation with.
Okay.
How hard it is to become a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
In basketball, if you're a really good college player, you'll get a shot in the
probably
NBA.
Get to a professional
Same thing
level.
with the NFL.
Right.
You'll get into a camp.
Right.
Baseball players, you can be the best player on your college team. You go into the minors, and if you don't beat everybody else out, you'll never make it to the major leagues. It is an incredibly hard thing to do, to hit a baseball and to pitch a baseball.
Absolutely.
It just is. It's I don't know any other way to explain it, which is why this was so cool. On Sunday, the Dodgers had an outfielder in Oklahoma City named James Outman. And the Dodgers have had a lot of injuries in the outfield. And Chris Taylor, the most recent one. And so they told Outman in Oklahoma City, get on a plane and go to Denver. They need you at the major league level. And Dave Roberts told him when he got there, first of all, he almost missed the plane.
Yeah.
He said he made it with 3 minutes to spare.
He almost missed the plane because he was trying to get into the ballpark to get his gear so he
Right.
could take it with him to Colorado to actually play in the game.
So he gets to Colorado, and Dave Roberts says, man, I'd like to ease you in, but we don't have the bodies. I'm putting you in the lineup today. And so his fiance flew in, his parents flew in. They're all from Northern California.
Right.
They all meet him in Denver. They're all sitting at the game at Coors Field. And if you have an appreciation for how hard it is to make it to the major leagues, that's an incredible moment to see your son, your friend, your fiance get a chance to get in it. Even if you look at 3 pitches and they go
Sure.
right by you.
Right.
You got to play in the major leagues. Just an incredible accomplishment. Except that Outman didn't look at 3 pitches and strike out. He did this.
On a 1-1 pitch, he hits a high drive. James Outman, welcome to the bigs. Welcome to your dream. A home run in his first big league at bat.
Did you watch this live?
Yeah. And
It was great.
I was actually, I had the game on, and then I went and ran an errand. And so when I heard the call, it was Tim Neverett on the radio, and Tim's call was great. That was Joe Davis. Joe's call was great. And by the way, Outman just kept hitting. He had 3 hits. He became the first guy in 7 years to have 3 hits in his debut.
He's the best player on the field that day. It was amazing.
And then so Dave Roberts said, well, you know, it's like being hot at a blackjack table. So he threw him out there again last night in San Francisco, and he was great.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that kid is that sometimes you'll get people that come up and you'll look to you'll see them play a game and you wonder, well, what was it that they saw that was going to make him a big leaguer? It's not just, oh well, you know. Sometimes there's an obvious skill set, sometimes there's not. With him, it was like, oh, okay, we can see why this guy belongs in the bigs because he knows what he's doing and he mashes at the plate. Those were barrels he was hitting. He didn't scoot one out over the short porch. He popped a bunch of balls. That guy can hit.
Incredibly cool moment to watch and to dig into, and the Dodgers just keep winning.
Yeah.
And even with the Padres getting all the big news today, I think that that the Dodgers are still kind of in the catbird seat.
He was playing so well that I thought he might be part of a trade for Soto. That's what I felt. That's what I thought they were doing. I thought that maybe that was a bring a guy up and give him some shine situation because in case he becomes part of a deal, you got somebody that you know you can play, and they're not just randomly throwing out prospects. But might have played himself well enough to get onto the team. He's not going to make the playoff roster, as Greg said, but, man, that dude is going to have a big league career.
Well, it depends, I think, if he's going to make the playoff roster. I don't know. I don't think you can put Max Muncy on the playoff roster unless he starts hitting. Now, yesterday he had a home run. Greg, he had a home run, a walk, and he hit a ball hard to the outfield too, right?
Yes.
He showed signs of life yesterday. But Muncy and, strangely, Joey Gallo, who they traded for this morning, are 2 of the worst 5 hitters in all the major leagues this year. They're just terrible.
That's true.
Can add Cody Bellinger in there, too.
Yeah, he hasn't been good, but they're so good everywhere else. You know, Freddie Freeman leads all of baseball in hits,
Correct.
and Trey Turner's second.
Yeah, I mean,
the Dodgers team ERA is the lowest of any team in the major leagues, so they're loaded. They're battling the Yankees for best record in baseball, and we may see here now we're inside of 90 minutes to go in the trade deadline. We may see a little more movement depending on what Andrew Friedman wants to do now. Did the Angels, Clinton, make a mistake hanging on to Shohei Ohtani?
I don't know if you ever can make a mistake keeping a player that dynamic and that good. The question is whether or not what they get for him is going to be what they want. Once again, it's a situation not unlike Juan Soto where there's no such thing as equal value. And there's also a very difficult scenario too, Greg, and I actually want your thoughts on this when it gets a chance. How do you pay Ohtani? Do you pay him like the best hitter in the league, or do you pay him like the best pitcher in the league, or do you do both? And I don't necessarily know that the Angels are the kind of franchise that's going to come out of pocket for what's necessary, because somebody probably will. And if you're competing with a bunch of other teams, that's really difficult, and it's not like they're going to be winning anytime soon. All their best players are done in terms of Trout and Rendon, and he's the only guy sort of left standing. I don't think that they did anything wrong, but they've got to figure out exactly what it is they want for him, and being foolhardy and rushing it, I think, probably wasn't the best idea.
Greg, I think that paying Ohtani is a lot like paying LeBron. You can't pay him enough.
No.
I mean, he should be the highest paid player in baseball, whatever that is.
He will be the highest paid player after next year. But the Angels are, in my opinion, being silly by not moving him.
Why?
Yeah.
Because you're going to get the most amount of money, the most amount of return that you can get right now. I understand.
Why do you? I mean, I'm not jumping on you, but why do you actually think that?
Because they're not a team that has run well. They're not a team that has built well. They do not have a good minor league system. They're not a team that is built for success. And if this team is not built for success, then he is going to leave at the end of next season. Even if they somehow miraculously make
season,
the right.
Yeah, but to Greg's point, Clinton, the longer you hang on to him, now next year's trade deadline, people don't have to give as much.
But
because he's not going to stick around.
Okay,
he's a rental at that point.
They can just say, "I'll wait for him to become a free agent and get him for nothing."
Well, that's not nothing though. That's my point. Is because nothing means nothing, but you're going to be paying out of the nose for him, and so the trade.
Right, I mean, in terms of assets,
the trade lever is kind of changed in that regard.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it was stupid. I mean, I'm not saying I would have necessarily done it this way, but I understand why they didn't. If they didn't like the deals, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know how to. Again, evaluating Shohei Ohtani is next to impossible in terms of what you can get for him. Never mind what you're going to pay him yourself. I think it's just a decision that they're going to need more time on.
Look what they just the Padres just gave up for Juan Soto. Now you go to the Cardinals, you go to the Dodgers. If you're the Angels, and say, hey, all those guys that you were willing to give up for Soto, you can get Ohtani for that, plus maybe a little bit extra here, a little bit extra there.
Right, but there's something going on here, guys, that it's going on in the NBA too. So according to Keith Law, the Nationals got a bigger haul of prospects from the Padres today than he's ever seen in one deal.
Okay.
All right, this was the Herschel Walker trade of baseball. When Rudy Gobert got traded from Utah to Minnesota, and Minnesota gave him pretty much anything they asked for.
Right.
Gave him 5 first-round picks. What happens is, Greg, you're right. It sets the market. Teams all say, well, if Gobert is worth 5 first-round picks, Durant would be worth 8 first-round picks. The problem is there is no mechanism by which other teams have to give you that. Just because a trade gets done and the market gets set doesn't mean the other teams have to follow. I think that's what these teams forget. So, for example, the NBA is on hold because nobody knows what Brooklyn's doing.
Right. They haven't even put the schedule out, right? Weren't you
right. I think the reason
before?
they haven't put the schedule out yet, and they normally don't release it until the first week in August, and it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming over the next few days. But now, how often do you put Brooklyn on TV? Do you put them on Christmas?
No.
What about the Lakers?
Yes.
Because of LeBron?
Yeah, LeBron and AD, and they're the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean,
Brooklyn's nobody.
But if LeBron, if the Lakers somehow figure out a way to get Kyrie, they're going to be on national TV more than any other team.
Sure.
Just because of the star power. If Durant and Kyrie stay in Brooklyn's going to get a lot more TV appearances.
Right, but
they both leave, they're not going to get any.
Look at the Knicks.
Just because one team gets a haul, you can't just say, oh, if Juan Soto is worth that, then what's Shohei Ohtani worth? It doesn't work that way.
I totally agree. And also, I with all due respect to Keith Law, like, other sports' big trade hauls are not analogous to baseball, per what you brought up to begin with. Like, it just doesn't work the same way in baseball for a whole host of reasons. Namely being the minor leagues exist, period. There's none of those in the NFL or in the NBA, so it's just not the same in that regard. But I feel like the Angels, this might be a situation, Greg, where they just kind of don't know what to do. And in those kind of situations, you don't want to find yourself giving up something and then realizing later that you kind of got screwed. And so as a result, you end up keeping your guy. I think that's where we are with the Halos right now.
But with the Halos, what do you think is going to actually happen to Ohtani? Do you think they can somehow re-sign him? They're going to show him all of a sudden next year?
He's going to re-sign. I think he's going to sign with
somewhere
another team,
else.
And that's just going to be that.
Yeah, so get rid of him and get something for it.
Yeah, but
you're going to lose him.
But yeah, I get that. But again, he's Shohei Ohtani. If he's half the reason you win any of your games, you can't just cut it off. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're a Halos fan, you're going to lose him anyway.
The money that's going to come in next year it's going to come in anyway for Mike Trout because Mike Trout will be there.
I get that, but what I'm saying is that from a fan experience, not that I think that Moreno is that concerned about this particular point of it, but if you know you're going to lose him, well, then keep him as long as you can. I mean, and that's and you're not competing. People are showing up to see that guy. For sure. Am I wrong about this?
No, you're absolutely right, but it's short-sighted. It's short-sighted in my opinion. You're not going to help your team. You're not going to build your team up.
It's only short-sighted assuming you're going to be building your team up anyway.
Yeah, he's not.
That's
what
my point, and that's not happening, as evidenced by the last 5 or 6 seasons in Anaheim. That's what I'm saying. And so at that point, sure, if you don't care about it anyway, it's planned obsolescence. You keep your asset and you move right along.
Fair.
All right, coming up next, we'll spin the wheel of questions. Jerry Jones is being petty.
Shocker.
And how much money would you need to save in order to let a stranger into your Uber? We'll get into all that. Clinton Yates in for Mason in Ireland, ESPN.
Questions is presented by our friends at Puente Hills Toyota. Got a car that's just sitting around not being used? Bring it to Puente Hills Toyota today for an instant cash offer. Puente Hills Toyota, the house of yes. Producer Jorge, are you ready with that wheel? Hit it!
All right, let's see what we got for wheel questions today. If you could make someone else invisible for a week, whom would you pick and why?
Someone else?
Someone else. Now, I have to admit,
going to go with Bergman. That's easy.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
Bergman, you were the first person I thought of.
That does not surprise me in the slightest.
Because I would really love to do a week where we could, like, have guests and take calls and stuff, but that would be selfish on my part because it would only help me.
Can I still speak, or am I just
No, you would go
gone?
away for a week.
Oh, I mean, that's a nice vacation.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that's short-sighted on my part. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm assuming we can pick the week, right?
Sure.
Okay. So,
It's
Greg,
your
what do you
question.
think? What do you think about maybe second, third week of October? We just have Jacob deGrom disappear for about a week. Would that not improve the Dodgers' chances to return to the World Series significantly?
Yeah, that would help out a ton. Dude throwing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. Jorge, you can make anyone disappear for a week. Who are you going with?
Ah, man.
I know my answer.
Go. Tell us yours.
Santa Claus. Easy. Christmas week. What a scandal that would be. Can you imagine?
Why you hating on Santa
has
Claus,
disappeared.
man? What's wrong with
missing
you?
from the North Pole.
Were
It'd be
you-
like that would do
Wait a
that would do
minute.
OJ
Did you
numbers.
not
You're gonna make kids cry.
Did you not get presents as a kid?
No. I mean, Santa returns. It's only a week. Okay, everybody calm
But
down.
it's during Christmas.
This would be OJ
And I'm
levels
Jewish.
of traction. Can you imagine Santa?
Yeah, that's just mean.
Cruising down.
You suck.
Cruising down the PCH.
Well, that's terrible.
with just the pants on and like a tank top. Like
Jorge,
a
you know who I thought you were going to say?
Messi or Ronaldo? Right?
Emily.
Jeez, dropping bombs.
That, man. I don't want to start. I don't
I
want
didn't
Emily.
start it. You started it.
I don't want Emily.
For
But
the
that's a great answer.
softball game, I tried to go. No, I tried to trade Bergman for Emily, and you killed it.
I know. I don't want Emily.
Wow.
Bergman 1 week. You
Thanks,
can get rid of anybody.
Appreciate you, Jorge. It's not has nothing to do with me anyway. But I am getting rid of Steve Mason for a week.
Hold on.
He's missing a
Last
lot
time I
of
checked,
games.
No,
do
it's fine.
anything.
He
Last
can
time
go-
I checked,
himself out
That
for a
happens
week.
on its own, from what I understand.
It does. But I need him gone for another week after what he did today. So it's time for him to just go away for a little while.
This even surprised. Okay, there's two things that surprised me about Mason. Number one, we have a big company dinner tonight
Yeah.
that he's blowing off, and he's blowing
Oh,
off.
he's not coming to that either?
No.
Wow.
And he's blowing off the trade deadline.
No, not really.
Man.
Which he likes. I mean, this is a big day for him. So this just goes to show you that priority one for Mason
Is Mason.
days off.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I
That
totally
is-
got that. I was thinking to myself today, too, when I
Ooh,
was coming in.
spit
I was like, I wonder what Mason is actually doing today. Like, I'm sure
He's
just-
texting Greg and I every 20 minutes asking us if the Dodgers are doing anything else. I don't know why he didn't
Baseball
just come
trades.
in.
I mean, he can turn on his television or maybe, I don't know, maybe even his radio.
Yeah.
And perhaps he can hear us.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and
We can say it because we're on the show, right?
and yeah, well, and Amanda sent out this email like 2 months ago saying, okay, save the date. This is a big dinner. The big bosses are in town.
I saved the date, but I did not RSVP, so that was on me.
And are you going?
I'll be there, yeah.
Okay.
I even brought a change of clothes to wear. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it is very weird that he's not here today. Okay, I'm going to pivot. I want to ask you. Thank you.
Nice. Well done.
I want to ask you about Jerry Jones.
Jera?
Okay, so I know Jerry Jones is very polarizing. People either like him or hate him. But Clinton, you can't deny that Jerry Jones is really smart, and he's a
I
really.
can deny that, but okay, go on.
But he's a really good businessman. I mean, the other day, American sports franchises were ranked in value. Cowboys #1.
But sidebar, I don't really understand how franchises are evaluated. That's a kind of a different discussion. But
If you would sell them today, what could you get for them?
I understand that in terms of the number, but I don't really know that I understand. Like, not a whole lot of people are selling. Anyway, it's
Okay.
They're
So here's
they're
my-
popular as hell.
Okay,
That's for sure.
Right. So here's my question. I was in Texas,
Yeah.
working as a sportscaster there, when Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys, immediately fired Tom Landry, and hired his college buddy
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
And the two of them rebuilt the Cowboys,
Now they hate each other.
and they had a falling out, but they're both in the Hall of Fame. And for whatever reason, Jerry Jones is refusing to put Jimmy Johnson in the Cowboys' Ring of Honor, even though they're both in the Hall of Fame. And so Newey Scruggs, who's a sportscaster down in Dallas, who used to work here in L.A., we all know Newey, did a sit-down with Jerry Jones and Oxnard the other day at training camp.
Right.
And he asked him point blank, what are you doing?
What's the deal?
And Jerry will not let it go. Here's exactly how it went down.
Jerry, I like you, I respect you, but I'm going to say this.
it seems very petty of what's going on between you and Jimmy from the standpoint that he's not in that Ring of Honor, because when you think about the Hall of Fame and you think about those championships, I'm just saying that's how it comes off to people. Yeah. Because there's you two together, you guys rebuilt that Cowboy dynasty that Tom Landry had. That was to me.
Let me just, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's BS for anybody to be making anything. I've said I'm going to put him in. Now, when I put him in, and the circumstances and what I do with that, there's a lot more than Jimmy to think about here. And I've got a lot of other lives out here that have laid a lot on the line on the field that need to be in that Ring of Honor as well. And so how I do that, what I do it with, I get to make that decision, and it isn't at the end of the day all tailored around whether Jimmy's snibbling or not.
Man.
It is your franchise. You do get to make the decision.
Well, and I'll be very sensitive and be very appreciative of what Jimmy is, but it's too much to say, well, that is the thing that gets up and goes to bed at night when we think about the Ring of Honor as to Jerry and Jimmy's relationship. Okay? Jerry and Jimmy were the two of the luckiest guys that's ever been on this earth to get to be sitting here having this talked about, if you want to know the truth about it.
I always appreciate the conversation.
What a weird interview. Was he implying that Jimmy Johnson had nothing to do with the Super Bowl runs that they had?
Sure sounds like it, doesn't
I
it?
mean, what kind of a...
What is Jerry doing?
I don't know. I mean, his levels of self-importance are... I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure, and I didn't know Dr. Buss, I'm not sure there's been a more self-important sports owner of any real repute in the history of American sports. I mean... Like, Jerry, first of all, who on earth cares about the Cowboys Ring of Fame? Like, I understand that in Cowboys lore, that's a big thing, but he's acting as if he's putting somebody in through the heaven's gates. You know what I mean? Like, it's not
and Jimmy
serious.
Johnson is already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, like, Jimmy Johnson doesn't need this. You know, Jimmy Johnson's on TV every week. Jimmy Johnson's on his boat on TV every week, counting his money. This is very weird to me. And once again, the levels of self-importance of Jerry Jones are unprecedented in my mind.
And I think he's coming off like a doofus here. And you know, maybe the problem is that when you have that much money, you don't have anyone around you who can tell you the truth.
Of course. Well, he's also got his whole family installed as his basically front office. So that doesn't help the cause.
I just think he's coming off like a jackass, and somebody should tell him that. And I don't know if that person exists.
Who's already in?
Every big Cowboy you can think of.
Okay.
Roger Staubach, Emmett Smith,
the reason I asked
Troy
that is because
Aikman, Michael Irvin.
He said there's all sorts of other people.
Bob Lilly.
That are supposed to be in before Jimmy. Who are those people? That's what I'm asking.
And by the way, the only question that anyone's asking is why haven't you put Jimmy in?
That's an odd one. I mean, I feel like I don't really know that I understand why they fell out to begin with. Wasn't it due to the fact that Jimmy thought that Jerry didn't get enough credit and vice versa? Like, what are we doing, guys? You know? I don't get that. But I also don't understand why a lot of old white guys of a certain age snipe at each other over petty beefs. I'm like,
don't get it.
It doesn't make sense to me.
All right, I mentioned that there's a story about Uber that we'll get to, and Clinton and I weren't here yesterday, and I got to tell you, I don't get surprised by much anymore in sports.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson getting 6 games surprised me, and I'll tell you why. That's coming up. Clinton Yates in for Mace. I'm John Ireland, Mason and Ireland.
Tuesday on Mason and Ireland. John, you know it's Yacht Rock Tuesday, too. I know it's baseball deadline or whatever the heck that is.
1 hour left, Chris.
Oh, 1 hour, Clinton.
Oh, no. T-minus 1
There's
hour
1 hour
and
left.
4
Somebody tell
minutes.
Mason. Oh, no. Mason, who's not here yet again. Right. But
Oh, just got a text.
what did Mace have to say? That he's not going to be here tomorrow either?
Yeah, probably not.
That comes later.
So, John.
No, Greg, that'll come at 10:30 tomorrow.
Right.
When you and I are driving
on
to
your way
Rams
to
camp.
Irvine. So that's where I was going. You get to see me today, which I know you're excited about. Tonight we'll be at the dinner together.
Yeah.
Then tomorrow you get even more of me. Not live imaging,
You're
but I'll
gonna
be
be
there.
at the Rams camp tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm the
we're in
backup
my-
tight end.
We're in my home stomping ground there.
You didn't even give me anything for that.
I gave you a ding.
You got a ding.
I did get a ding.
There it is.
There it is. So what do you do at Rams camp when you're out there, Morales?
I record.
Do you press flesh with the fans? How high is your Q rating in Irvine?
He collects drops. You know those great
Yes.
drops
Yes,
we
those
hear
are great.
throughout the season?
Those are great.
Those don't just produce themselves, Clint.
No, I know, but I'm saying, how much do the fans love you specifically at Rams camp?
So Saturday, it was so hot to me, at least.
Okay.
Did you get any Saturday, or were they all too hot?
What do you mean?
Like, did you get any drops?
Yeah,
Or
I got a lot of
oh,
drops.
Okay.
Not from players, from listeners.
Okay.
But there were a lot of people going, hey, Morales,
Yeah,
Sedano, and
For people to know what
All
a
right.
drop is, like, Jorge, find the Matt Stafford drop. You know, so basically this is, and most guys will do this during training camp. Every once in a
Yes.
while you run into a guy like Westbrook.
Or Michael Brockers,
Yeah,
who told
who-
me to F off.
Yeah, but
Wait, you want me to play it?
I get what a drop is.
Play it.
All right, stand by.
Hi, this is Matthew Stafford of your Los Angeles Rams. This is Mason and Ireland on your home of Rams football, 710 ESPN.
so those don't just happen out of thin
no,
air.
I get it.
Chris
It's just-
creates them with his, he could sell ice to the Eskimos.
It's been a big summer, though, and there's an element of Rams camp that's sort of a back to school. We're back into the fall, and we've been out all summer pressing the flesh. I figured you might have come to a King's welcome in Irvine.
Something like,
Morales,
you know, I'm big in South OC, but also it is Kelly Stafford's birthday today. Wife of
Really?
the great Matthew
Really?
Stafford. And
Okay.
she's a fun social media follow.
Hang. Yeah. Okay.
You
Yeah.
think-
she's
well,
good
you
on
think
that.
she could be there tomorrow? I'd love a drop from Kelly Stafford.
She may be there. Usually
Yeah.
if Matthew, as she called, remember Matthew, not Matt.
Yeah, she doesn't like Matt.
If Matthew's there, she'll be there with the kids. Meanwhile, Mason and Ireland continues your Tuesday right now.
Bergman, you're going to let us actually talk to some Rams, right? You're not going to extend your no guest policy to Rams training camp, are you?
You are allowed to talk to any athlete.
Yeah,
All
the
right,
no
good.
guest policy is a no phoner policy, right?
Well, for the most part, it's not even a policy. It's more so just tell me who you want on and why they make sense, and then they can come on.
I screwed something up, Greg. I could have played a really good practical joke, but I wasn't thinking.
Oh,
I got to
tell me what it is now.
Well, it would have involved Michael. I got a text from Michael this morning saying, "Hey, I'll be in tomorrow to do Game of Games," and I immediately texted him back, "We'll be at Rams camp, so don't come in."
John.
So he's going to come in next week. But how great would it have
Why
been?
didn't you just come Thursday?
Well, I offered it to him. He said no. He said he can't. He can't do it any other
Wednesday's the only day for Michael.
for this week. Yeah, but I'm sure, Greg. I'm sure we'll see him at the dinner tonight, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is he coming? Michael's going to be here?
Come on,
No,
man.
probably not.
What does Michael show up to
I was
where
going
he's
to say,
not
I can't
5
think
feet
of
from
the-
his house?
Oh, right, or at crypto or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So,
That would be a
Oh, that would have been really good.
we
though,
could have.
John.
He would have walked in here, and no
That
one
would have been
would have been here.
hilarious.
What?
That would have been hilarious.
Okay. So, a couple of things I want to knock out here with you guys. Number one, did you guys see that Uber yesterday announced Uber X Share? Okay, this is a new tier of Uber.
How is it new?
This isn't new.
No, hold on. Before, you could always ride share on Uber, but not if you ordered an Uber X. Uber X was the lowest priced, smallest cars, blah, blah, blah. Now, Uber X Share, you can travel, you can ride for 20% less if you agree to let the guy stop and pick up a stranger.
Okay.
Is that worth it to you?
Maybe, but I can tell you don't ride a lot of Ubers because that's no different than it used to be. Like, at this point, Greg, do you even know the difference between X and regular Uber?
No, is there a difference?
I don't know. I think
Do you always order X?
I mean, I think X is the lowest it goes to now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think
I
that's,
never order X.
I think
I
that's
would have thought it was the higher tier.
I think that's a
No.
return to the
Uber
regular.
Black
Uber
is the
Black.
highest tier.
Okay.
Well,
And
Uber
then
Black.
what I order,
XL,
what I always,
yeah.
what I always order is Uber XL
Yeah.
because I don't want to be picked up in a smart car.
All right.
I don't think anyone's picking you up in a smart
Well,
car.
but you make yourself available to whatever cars are out there.
You don't want
if you
Keyshawn in
click
the
on-
Prius pulling up on you so he can take you home?
Hey,
No,
hey,
but-
I drove Uber and I drove in the Prius.
Yeah,
Right.
And I picked up multiple people in the car with the shared
I'll
part.
tell you this. I could have used an Uber out of the Rose Bowl yesterday.
I don't even think they have an Uber lot.
Again, this is my point. So I was ready to give somebody $100 just to get me back to where I live. Some rando on the street. I would probably, if I was up for it, let somebody into the car for, what did you say, 20% discount? That's not bad. If it doesn't take the issue with getting people in and out of the car is never really the money, Greg.
No.
It's the time it takes to get from where you're going and the stopping and the going. That's the issue. Bro, I walked 2 miles just
some
to
cardio.
prevent myself.
Good thing.
It was a good thing.
Yeah.
A lot of
All right.
hiking.
So we weren't here yesterday, and we didn't get a chance to respond to the news that broke about Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. He's been suspended 6 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy.
No fine.
No fine. This was the number of games for the suspension was determined by disciplinary officer Sue Robinson, and she announced it Monday in a 16-page report. Clinton, let me just start here.
Mm-hmm.
Just right? Too little? Too much? How do you feel about 6 games?
Didn't really make a lot of sense to me, and I'll explain why. I talked about this on Around the Horn yesterday because this was our entire A block. Very rare situation for those of you who don't know how the TV business works. We'll go behind the curtain. Normally you have an A1, A2,
I'm surprised it wasn't the
A3.
whole show.
It was the entire A block. If Bill Russell hadn't have passed, it might have been.
We're getting to that, too.
So, a whole A block we do this, and I read the report. I mean, I don't know if you read all 16 pages, but the judge offered – here's why it didn't make sense to me, John. The judge offered an explanation that, to me, it felt like it was coming from a caveman. It said – and I mean that in terms of mentality – it said that the reason she didn't feel that he needed more than the maximum that had already been given to that point for what it was because it was non-violent sexual assault. And I said this, and I'll say this again. When it comes to sexual violence, the fulcrum is consent, not physicality. Mind you, physicality was still involved. And so the ruling,
Yeah, how is it not? By nature, how is it nonviolent?
Exactly, and that's where I was like, "Whoa, this is a judge who has an outlook on sexual violence that sounds like it's from the '60s." You know what I'm saying? Like, oh well, if you didn't get beat over the head and dragged into a bush, then it doesn't really count. And that kind of mindset that we've gotten way past. And for a woman like Sue Robinson to use that as a reason to only give him 6 games. It wasn't just the number, John. It was the explanation to me that felt like an insult to my intelligence.
I think you've completely hit the nail on the head. To piggyback on your point, in relying on precedent, okay, so Sue Robinson relied on precedent. She sought to differentiate between violent and nonviolent sexual conduct.
That's not a thing.
Okay, to your point, what determines violent and nonviolent is one word, and you said it, consent.
Yes.
If you do not consent to any sexual act from me, and I do it anyway, by definition, it's violent.
Thank you.
I've invaded your personal space in the most private of ways. And so she said, because it was a nonviolent sexual act, she compared it to Ben Roethlisberger, who got 6 games, who Ben Roethlisberger got drunk, and there was a drunk girl in a bathroom, and they got it on, and she later said, I didn't consent, and so they gave him 6 games. So she said, Sue Robinson said, and I was really, stunned by this. She said, it was a first-time offense.
We're not talking about shoplifting here.
No, but Clinton, there were 30 women.
Yeah.
All right. How is it a first-time offense if you do it once and then do it 29 more times to other people?
The whole setup of using precedent, John, as you mentioned, is the issue. Because the precedent sucks. That's why the NFL is what it is. And that none of this was set up in a way that I think was designed to do anything other than limit the possibility of punishment for Deshaun Watson. It seems clear. The number of cases that the judge was allowed to view was only 5, one of which ended up getting thrown out, so it was 4. So technically, she wasn't even allowed to review the other cases for whatever reason.
Okay, so let's take that for him. It's still, if it's 4.
No, I know.
If it's 4, how is that a first-time
I'm not
offense?
even arguing procedurally. I'm just saying the entire thing was set up in a way that was designed to minimize hurt for Deshaun Watson and therefore the league. And, like, to me, I think the NFL, and I'm not sure this is going to happen, but they've still got today and tomorrow to appeal this because technically the ruling of the judge is only a suggestion. Well, not only a suggestion, but it's something that if either side wanted to appeal that they could.
All right, let me ask you about
the NFLPA won't appeal that.
Okay, they won't. You're right. And the NFL has to decide, as you mentioned, in the next 48 hours whether or not they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've put themselves in a box.
Yeah.
Because they've created this domestic violence policy in which they say we'll have a neutral arbitrator, in this case Sue Robinson, a judge.
Former judge, yeah.
Determine what an appropriate punishment should be. And if Roger Goodell comes out later today and says, we're going to tack on 10 more games and make it a year, I think this immediately goes to court. And if it goes to court, Clinton, he's going to get a stay and be on the field week 1 against Carolina. Now, if they stretch it to 10 games or 12 games, would the NFLPA fight that?
I think
probably,
maybe.
Right? But maybe they can get away with that. And if Roger Goodell comes out today and says, yeah, we disagree with Sue Robinson, I'm judge, jury, and executioner, doesn't that spit in the face of the whole thing that was collectively bargained? Why is Sue Robinson there if they're going to ignore her recommendation?
Well, because
what do you think happens next? I guess is my long way.
I think they're going to appeal it, and I think it's going to get to 10 games. Is what I think. I think they're going to say, listen, 6 just doesn't sit right with us. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't pass the eyeball test, I think, as you would say, John. And I think that you get to 10 games. But I do think, to your point, if this is how things are going to be adjudicated, they've got to figure something else out. Because you can't have – I'm sorry, I'm still hung up on the judgment, again, of non-violent sexual assault. You can't have people who think like people from 40 years ago judging based on precedent what we should be doing now. This is a good reason, in my personal opinion, to basically take a look at what the CBA actually is. You know what I mean? At some point, you have to start somewhere if you're even going to act like you care about defending women in this country. Like, it's one thing if you're just going to say, hey, ignore everything, but the NFL is out there. The NFL, believes itself to be a progressive on some level league. They actively court, the female fans as they should, but act as if they're on the right side of history. You can't do both in this situation. This is as good as opportunity as any, and I can't believe I'm sort of defending Roger Goodell here, but I think on some level he's got a chance to clear his conscience a little bit, and you've got to at least say something because it doesn't feel right. 6 games doesn't make sense.
I agree with you, and here's something I haven't heard anybody say. We're all debating whether or not 6 games is too light or too little. You and I both think it's too little.
I think it's too light. Yeah.
How come nobody's talking about whether or not Deshaun Watson has a serious mental problem? Because, Clinton, think about it. He's on top of the world as an NFL player. He's as good as anybody playing his position. He goes, and they at one story, Jenny Ventus wrote that one story that said 68 different women gave him massages, and he acted inappropriately with the majority of them. If he's willing to do that, if he's willing to put his career on the line and not even think twice about it and do it repeatedly, do it 30 times, are we sure this guy's right in the head?
I think if you want to consider ego a mental problem, well, then there's a lot of people you're going to have lining up to get treatment.
Isn't this, and I'm not meaning to be glib here, isn't this what got Harvey Weinstein thrown in jail?
No, not remotely. Harvey Weinstein was ruining people's careers and destroying them psychologically to the point that they couldn't even do anything anymore. I'm not saying it's not the same thing, but here's what my point is that.
But before you move on past that, I'm just thinking about these 30 women.
I get that.
Couldn't we say that to a degree that happened to them? Their careers were ruined, and
I don't think
the psyches of them are permanently damaged?
Yes, but they don't work in the same business, so it's a little different. That's what I'm saying. Deshaun Watson doesn't write anybody's checks.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. But I do think there is something to be said. Man, I remember the first time I thought about this, I was like, okay, so this guy either frankly, to get into it, doesn't understand what sex workers are. You know what I mean? Because you can pay for this. This is an available thing. You're not asking for something that's illegal. You're asking for something that is simply untoward in some people's minds. But that doesn't make it wrong.
Right.
And I think that there's something here that is, and I don't want to speculate, but if you're the big man on campus, in the NFL, in your city, and there's certain things you like to do, I guarantee you that the apparatus of the NFL, in terms of the egos it feeds, makes him feel that it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I don't think that he thought, John, he was putting his career at risk. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
because
how?
of exactly what we just saw. He didn't. Hello, in very many ways, he's gotten away with this. The Browns gave him $230 million.
Most guaranteed money of any
knowing
player ever.
full well what had happened. His own team was providing NDAs for him to show up with to these functions. I don't think he has a mental problem. He's been aided and abetted for his behavior effectively his entire NFL career. You know what I'm saying? That's as much on the levers of the league as they are on any one guy. And I think that's what we've learned throughout the course of this entire trial, is that the league will protect its own if they feel that what they do doesn't overall harm the bottom line. And this is another situation. You see guys cheering him on at Rams camp in my head, at Browns camp. It's just, it's a sad state of affairs on where we are in America in terms of the rights of women and how we respect women across the country.
Okay, coming up, you mentioned that you were called in yesterday to talk about Bill Russell.
Yep.
Bill Russell did something that is incredibly difficult to do. There is no one who's identified with the Celtics more than Bill Russell.
Correct.
Yet Laker fans didn't boo him and respected the hell of him. How did he do that? We'll get into that next. Clinton Yates in for Mace. The baseball trade deadline is over in 47 minutes. We're keeping an eye on everything. And right now, the Dodgers have only made one move. And they picked up Joey Gallo from the Yankees. Joey Gallo's been terrible this year. Let's see if they have anything else up their sleeve in these last 45 minutes or so. Clinton in for Mace. I'm John Ireland, ESPN.
There you go, John. Yacht Rock on a live
Turn up
Imaging
this
Tuesday.
Yacht Rock.
What?
Excellent choice.
Yeah. Mason in Ireland. So you mentioned UberX. Did you know now? This came up the other evening.
Wait. I'm glad you brought that up because we got some help from Cisco.
What up, Cisco? What up, fool?
What up, fool?
What's up, fool?
Uber Share, Chris,
What's up, dog?
is Uber Pool with the limit of one rider instead of two. It's been running in L.A. for a couple of months. Uber Pool was not running during the pandemic.
Okay.
So it's the return of ride sharing for
So
Uber.
I was in Seal Beach the other night, and it popped up that you can, rent the car now.
Yeah.
For your ride home.
You can do that.
Did you know about that,
And
John?
drive it?
So you drive it home.
I do know
But
this.
where does the person who delivers the car go?
I don't know.
They don't have to come with you.
I don't know that. I thought you have to pick up the rental.
Yeah,
Like, you
that's a
could
good
go
question.
to the rental. Like the cars are just on
But
the
if I'm
street.
too intoxicated to drive it anyway, and that's why I'm getting an Uber.
Well, but by the way, Chris,
you shouldn't be allowed to drive.
I want to compliment you on something that you do, and I want to encourage others to do it. Chris likes to have a cocktail, so do I. You always Uber when you drink.
Yes.
Which I think is such an easy thing to do, but for whatever reason, nobody does it. You do it consistently.
You have to.
And it's very easy to do. It's not expensive. You never have to worry about anything. If you're going to cocktail, you always Uber. More people should do that.
And I live far away from most things in L.A., but
Right.
it's still worth the money. If you can't afford the Uber home, don't go.
Don't be out drinking. Right. It's absolutely
Because
true.
it's much cheaper than hurting somebody or, of course, getting a DUI. So.
Right.
Yes.
All right, on that note, Mason and Ireland continues
Good for
your
you,
Tuesday
Chris.
right now.
Keep it up. Yeah, you're leading by example.
Somebody I know left a phone in an Uber this weekend, Chris. I'll tell you about that later. It wasn't me.
Was it Chris?
No, it was my date. It's another story.
Oh, this date's a mess. She
No.
got there at halftime. She left her phone in the Uber.
Yeah.
And you're going to go out with her again. Good for
Maybe.
you.
We'll see. But
All right. You mentioned that you got called in over
Yeah.
the weekend to talk about Bill Russell. I got to interview Bill Russell twice. And the thing that will stay with me forever, Clint, is the laugh.
yeah.
He had this infectious, loud,
old man laugh.
Yeah, that was just awesome. And he laughed a lot. And
Let me ask you this: what
older.
years were this?
Much
Yeah.
old,
Okay.
late in his life. When
Okay.
and the one thing that he was able to accomplish is, for example, we always give Cedric Maxwell, Michael, Worthy, me, the hardest time possible because he's a pain in the ass and he's the Celtics radio announcer and we give him a hard time.
Cedric's funny.
Yeah. And he walks in, Laker fans start to boo him. He says, "Bring it on,"
Right.
blah, blah, blah. But Bill Russell would walk in and everybody would go, "Ooh, there's Bill Russell." And they'd start cheering. They'd start applauding everywhere he went. He was so good, Clinton, as a basketball player and as a leader, that he won the respect of his most hated rivals. There was an event towards the end of his life within the last couple of years where Jeannie had a private event to celebrate the history of the Lakers-Celtics rivalry. That's the game where Bill Russell came dressed in Kobe's jersey. And I was doing some TV work then. And you watch the room and the way people would come to him to kiss the ring, for lack of a better term.
Basically, yeah.
And I've never seen another, if it was Red Auerbach, no. If it was Larry Bird, no. Kevin McHale, no. Parrish, no. One guy solicited that type of response. Why, do you think?
Bill Russell was bigger than the Celtics, period. I mean, I know that a lot of Lakers fans get all kind of caught up about that idea, but Bill Russell was a civil rights leader, legit, in his own right. It almost had nothing to do with basketball on a certain level. And I think that Bill Russell also, unlike a lot of these other guys, was cool. I mean, you know what I mean? That just from a simple comportment standpoint, there was nothing about him outside of the fact that he played for the Celtics that people didn't like. And Bill didn't even like Boston, John. He said very
well,
famously,
they weren't very nice to him.
I play for the Celtics. I don't play for Boston. Bill Russell was all of these things you see about activism and voices for players, that all kind of started with Bill in the non-Jackie regard. Jackie kind of had to do it, and he had to do it a sort of different way. Bill Russell didn't have to do that. Bill Russell was just a basketball player who dominated on the court and decided he wasn't going to take any crap as a black man in America. That was respectable on a lot more levels than just what the jersey you were wearing was on the, or what it said on the front of the back. I think that Bill Russell also, one of the fascinating things about Bill is that he was one of the few players of his generation that throughout the years other players really liked too. All the players you would see would be like, yo, just like the fans would, shouting out to Bill Russell. And he was never a guy that was like, oh, back in my day this, back in my day that. He embraced the new generations of the game. You talked about him wearing the Kobe jersey and stuff.
Right.
Bill Russell was cool. I think that was evident. I think that was obvious. And I'm glad that the NBA managed to kind of get it together in these last years of his life that he, had, and kind of put him back to the forefront of where he should be. Because a lot of people like to argue about Rings Mountain and who's got this, ain't nobody got more rings than Bill Russell, literally. You know what I'm saying? So that discussion is over. Whether you not want to call him the greatest of all time is a different discussion, but as a human being on earth, that guy's magnetism was unparalleled. And I really think that yesterday was the kind of day that you get when a guy has gotten his flowers already, but you still want to pay the necessary homage. I thought it was as good of a celebration of life as I've seen in a long time for a great who died.
I retweeted this over the weekend, but I think if there's a more impressive sports stat than this, I don't know what it is.
Is it the Bob Ryan stat?
Russell played 21 winner-take-all games in his career. NBA, Olympics, NCAA tournament. Clinton, he was 21-0.
Yeah, that is the Bob Ryan stat.
10 of those 21 games were NBA Game 7s. Listen to this.
Yeah.
In those Game 7s, he played 488 of 495 minutes. Right? 488 of 495 and averaged 29 rebounds a game. I mean, John Wooden's Pyramid of Success, be at your best when your best is needed. Isn't that like the classic example of it?
The funny thing is that of those rebound averages, that was before blocks were even a thing.
I know.
So most of those were probably, a good part of them were probably blocks. My biggest, the wildest stat to me, and this isn't really comparable, but I think you'll understand what I'm saying. Bill Russell was like 6'9". It's not like Bill Russell was 7'5". You know what I'm saying? He was just that good. 6'9", 6'10" guy. People think of him as some towering sort of person because comparatively then, but like the athleticism of Bill Russell, I think will always get downplayed. He was a high jumper at one point in his career in high school. And in my mind, I remember thinking, oh, wait, he wasn't actually that big, but he learned to play the game, to play around bigs, and it's completely revolutionized how NBA basketball sort of developed. And it's really hard to say anything bad about the guy in the context of even the people he influenced turned out to be well. People forget, John Thompson Jr., longtime head coach of the Georgetown Hoyas, played backup to Bill Russell. He was a backup for him for 2 years. And he used to always say that Bill taught him a million things. Bill's identity as a black man was a big part of who he was. His toughness as a basketball player was a big part of who he was. And his general devotion as an athlete was a large part of it. You see John Thompson obviously turns around and makes one of the best programs in the history of college basketball. And I don't know that retiring his number is necessarily something I care about, but I think he would be as much up for the honor as anybody when it comes to that kind of thing.
Well, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2017 from President Obama. And I can't think of anyone more that crossed over. I mean, Laker fans hate the Celtics. They just hate him. Jerry West told me once that he owns nothing green. Literally. Doesn't have a green shirt. Doesn't have a green tie. Yet, if you ask Jerry about Bill Russell, I saw Jerry doing a bunch of interviews yesterday, nothing but reverence. Bill Russell was a once-in-a-lifetime individual and made it to 88 years old and has the respect of every fan from every team in the whole league. You think anybody else will ever win 11 titles as the best player on their team?
No.
Yeah, probably not in our lifetime, right?
No, not even close. I mean, because there's just too many teams, and not to get too far into league, era comparisons, but I just don't think that's possible. However, don't think that means that I don't think that what happened was impressive. Ain't nobody else got 11 rings. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what are we talking about here? It's an unbelievable life, unbelievable career.
All right, coming up next, we're going to lighten it up around here. There is a walrus in Norway that is a problem, and I'm just not sure how to solve it. We'll explain coming up. Bergman's going to jump in here with Bobcat before the end of the hour, and we are watching the Major League Baseball trade deadline. 35 minutes. The big bombs have already gone off. Juan Soto and Josh Bell both going to the Padres. The Dodgers made one very small move. Joey Gallo from the Yankees, who's really struggled this year, has been picked up by L.A. I don't know whether or not Gallo is going to be placed right away on the 25-man roster, but if he is, somebody's got to go down. And I'm hoping it's not James Outman. I'm hoping it's not Klay Thompson. I'm not sure who's going down, but we'll keep an eye on that too. Mason in Ireland. Clinton Yates in for Mace. ESPN.
Live Imaging Tuesday on Mason in Ireland. More of that yacht rock, John Ireland. Who is this singing?
Oh, I know who this is.
John, our whole friendship is on the line right now.
It's going to drive me crazy when you tell me this.
They also had a song, Sharing the Night Together.
Is this Dr. Hook?
It is Dr. Hook.
Wow.
Yeah.
Deep pull.
That's good yacht rock knowledge, which you get on a Live Imaging Tuesday. Now, I was going to tell the story about your girlfriend leaving the phone in the
She's
Uber.
not my girlfriend.
She's your girlfriend.
No,
but you've got Dodgers breaking news, so why don't you go ahead and do it?
Okay, so we now know where Joey Gallo is going.
Yes.
Jake Lamb traded to Seattle for cash.
Oh, okay.
So, Greg, I don't love that. Do you?
I really like Jake Lamb, actually. I was really excited when they got him this year, and he's been great since he's come up.
He's a big leaguer.
Yeah, he is a big leaguer. And so now this is just a move for Gallo, which I don't really...
So quick
Gallo's a better defender than Jake Lamb.
Quick sidebar on this. If I'm Luke Voigt, the next time I see Eric Hosmer, we're scrapping on sight. Because that dude rejected the Nationals, and Voigt gets thrown in as a result, and Hosmer ends up in Boston. You know how mad I'd be, Greg, if some guy with a random no-trade clause made me leave the tag-on team that was actually contending. Oh, I'd be furious.
What, do you mean that the Nationals aren't going to contend for a little bit?
Of course not. That's the whole point. But I'm saying, like, that I would be so, I mean, legitimately, that's a fighting situation.
The Nationals have now lost over the last couple of years Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Max Scherzer,
this is not about the
and
Nationals.
Juan Soto.
I'm
just saying, like, that's four massive names that they just traded.
That's a whole wing of the Hall of Fame.
It's like Marlins.
I need Crypto.com to set up the celebrity fight I don't need former NFLers, Adrian Peterson, whoever he was going to fight. I need Eric Hosmer versus Luke Voigt right now. Fist fight. John, how terrible would that be if he got traded just because some other guy didn't want to go some other place?
Well, but he earned it, right? He was a 10-5 guy, so he had the right to turn the trade down.
That stinks, bro. He had that ridiculous contract. Anyway. That's a good reason not to like somebody, is all I'm saying.
Boy, I'm not sure that Joey Gallo is better than Jake Lamb, Bergman.
Yeah, I don't know if he is. I mean, offensively, I don't think so. But defensively, Gallo is the better defender. It also depends on whether or not you can move Jake Lamb down. I don't know if he's out of options to go back down to AAA.
The DFA situation is
right. So yeah, if you do that, then you're just going to lose him for nothing. So you might as well get some cash for him because they traded for Gallo for him to be on the roster.
Right, you're not
and
sending
they do
Gallo
the same
to Oklahoma.
No, exactly, and they're both left-handed bats.
Yeah. Well, we still have 28 minutes. Let's see if anything else is going to happen. But it'd be unlikely, wouldn't it?
No, things happen all the way down to the wire, and then they even go in a little bit past.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting for that to break, let me tell you about something that's going on in Norway. Okay.
Norway news?
Norway news. There is a walrus named Freya, Freya.
Okay.
All right. Freya is 1,300 pounds.
Okay.
So
offensive line.
In Oslo, in Norway, Freya is bouncing around all these boats that are docked. Okay.
Oh.
Have you seen this?
No, I have not. I was wondering where Freya was going to enter normal people's lives.
Take this, and you can scroll up and down and kind of read it. She's so heavy that she's jumping up on boats just to try and sunbathe, and it is sinking all the boats. She's too heavy. So she'll swim up to a boat and plop on there, and then the boat
will capsize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you do? All right.
Get Freya her own boat. I got to say this. Some intrepid mind out there, Ireland, has to be able to build Freya their own, like, little dock.
Yeah, but in the meantime, she's
terrorizing the marina. That's what I would do. Now, I don't know how to build boats. I also have no idea how water technology works. But if I am the local tourism board of Oslo or the, I don't know, Norway Corps of Engineers, whoever handles this part, that's what I'm doing. I feel like this would be a bigger problem than just one walrus, though. How has this not been an issue before?
Because I don't think there's ever been a walrus this big. So, Bergman, all right, your choices are just let Freya continue to jump on boats and wreck them. You could capture her. I don't know how. She's 1,300 pounds.
That's a big one.
And haul her way out to sea, but I don't know if that's safe.
No.
You could put her in SeaWorld, which I think is kind of mean.
It is very.
You don't want to shoot her, right?
No.
All the PETA people will go crazy.
Do you just PETA people to go crazy?
Right.
I'm sure the local Oslo residents.
Do you just let her be, Clinton?
No.
And let her continue to destroy. What's your answer is what we do today?
Build her a boat.
Wait a minute, that takes time.
So
how many boats are going to get ruined while you're building this ark, Noah?
Build them out of the boats that have been ruined. Recycle them.
How quickly do you think that can happen?
You ever been to Norway? They get stuff done pretty quickly up there.
The Oslovians will be able to do it in no time at all.
You two are idiots. That would take weeks.
I'll bet you there's some guy that's got a boat for a walrus already that they haven't sanctioned.
That'll handle a 1,300-pound walrus.
How big does the boat have to be to handle 1,300 pounds?
Big.
How big?
Like Mickey Harrison Carnival Cruise Line big.
Like bigger than a boat you might buy? Probably so. But I think you build it. You call it the walrus. You got a built-in name for the boat.
I love this.
What do you do in the meantime while you're building it?
I don't know. Let her wreck the boats. I mean,
what do you mean let her wreck the boats?
I saw the boat. It's a tiny boat.
You just looked at one boat. She's wiping out 3 to 4 boats a day.
Oh, wow, that's a serious OPS.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. All right, so here's
what do you think a walrus sounds like? Can you do a walrus sound?
Now here's the I'm going to tell you.
What, Clinton?
I was going to say something terrible, but
Was that any good?
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's see what the real walrus sounds like.
Do we have any idea what a real walrus sounds like?
Oh, I was way off.
Try it again. Try it again.
I was way off. All right, so here's some answers.
Also, hold on. No. Also, you have misidentified Freya's general countenance. Freya's all up and down. Europe, Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands, UK. Freya's getting around.
Okay.
All right, this
Maybe
is
these
a
are pirate ships.
continental problem, not just for the Slovians that Craig mentioned.
So here now, the government is issuing statements about Freya because she's doing so much
Because Freya
damage.
doesn't have her own PR team.
Yeah. Despite the material damage Freya has caused so far, as a protected species in Norway, euthanasia is out of the question, the director of fisheries said in a statement on Tuesday.
So Freya's smart. She's staying out of the
Although
the hot
not
zones.
ruling out relocating her if the situation worsens, the director is encouraging Norwegians to be considerate and keep their distance. I think they're going to let Freya just run wild.
Of course, you should. Everybody, you're lowering the carbon footprint. You don't need all these boats. What are people doing on these boats anyway? Probably out there messing up with her habitat. That's why she's there to begin with. I say let Freya wreck all the boats possible until she goes away.
You're not very cost conscious there, my friend.
I'm not cost conscious for people who have luxury items they don't necessarily need. You don't need boats. What are people doing in those boats? You're going out there, you're throwing your little fishing lines in, you're coming back and taking pictures for Instagram, and meanwhile, Freya's got no home. So she's wrecking your boat so she's got a place to live. That's how it works. It's like a bear coming down out of the woods
The hope
to eat
is
the picnic basket.
that Freya will eventually return to the Arctic Sea and settle down. As climate change causes ice cover in the Arctic to melt, more walruses are hunting on land.
Thank you.
Creating competition for food that may explain why Freya has traveled so far.
This is what I'm saying. Habitat's destroyed.
Walruses can eat thousands of oysters in one meal, so if Freya has developed a taste for them, her culinary tour could prove environmentally helpful.
You see? I told you. Let Freya eat. This is what we're doing. You people don't need boats. I've seen the marinas. Those boats are stacked up like sardines. It's ridiculous.
A 2018
I would pay
count
money to
found that
watch-
efforts to protect the walrus had been successful with a growing population of around 5,500 living on land compared to just 100 in 1980. So the walrus is back.
Yeah.
Freya may have friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gang.
Yeah. I don't know what the easy answer is there, but I think your idea of just let Freya destroy boats is not the smartest way to go.
Because you know people who have boats. That's why.
That's right.
I don't know anybody who has a boat.
I grew up as a boat kid.
I don't have any boat connections.
All right.
Sad to say.
Speaking of a guy who has no boat connections, Bergman will be along next.
Yeah?
He has Bobcat. He'll throw a bunch of stuff at us, and the trade deadline now has 21 minutes left.
Okay.
21 minutes.
Let's get Mason update. You're listening.
The Dodgers have basically acquired Joey Gallo, and that's it. A couple of other minor leaguers, but that's it. We'll keep an eye on the last 21 minutes. Mason and Ireland, ESPN LA.
Bobcat. It's time for Corporate Greg's Bobcat segment, but first, have you followed Corporate Greg at his new Instagram?
Corporate Greg.
That's right. The other one got hacked. So the new one is corporate_Greg. Follow now, follow often.
Corporate Greg.
But now it is time for that Bobcat. Bobcat. It's time for Bobcat. Bobcat. Bobcat time. Take it away, Corporate Greg.
Corporate Greg.
Thank you very much, Chris and Amanda.
Hey,
All right.
You're supposed to remember? You're supposed to do that moving forward.
What am I supposed to do?
You're
A Bobcat.
supposed
The
to do the
rawr.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Bobcat. Rawr. So the dude... Dude Perfect is a bunch
Hold on. Do Bobcats roar?
I don't know.
Do we
what
even know that?
They do now, apparently.
This is what you guys told me to do last week. Thank you for reminding me, Jorge. Otherwise, I would have forgotten on purpose. So, Dude Perfect is Dude Perfect is a bunch of YouTubers that make trick shots. I'm pretty sure it's all edited, but I haven't put in the time to really figure it out.
Oh, you're a truther on Dude
No,
Perfect?
I mean, look. There's no way they're making some of these shots. Let's be honest. Well, they are going to be doing a side broadcast on Thursday Night Football for Amazon Prime. I get the reaching of the younger crowd part of all this, but why do you think they are doing this? And will you watch, John?
I won't watch, but I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to bring people into the tent that wouldn't normally Clinton otherwise come in. So they're trying to tap into Dude Perfect's audience, which makes perfect sense to me.
Who is the Dude Perfect audience?
Kids. Young,
Is it?
yeah,
Are we sure about
yeah,
that?
I mean,
Nickelodeon crowd.
Yeah, teenagers.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, but what I'm saying is that, like, they're not watching, they're watching Dude Perfect do Dude Perfect stuff. Like, that's a totally different attention span of things. Right? Like, are they going to be doing trick shots during the game? Like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Maybe.
What does Dude Perfect have to offer in another setting that is actually going to translate is my question. There's no way I watch this.
I have no idea. I don't understand it in the slightest, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
are
it's
they
one
throwing
thing to have the
footballs
Manning
into
brothers.
cups?
It's like, yeah, it's one thing to have the Manning brothers up there ragging on each other because they had two illustrious careers in the NFL. A bunch of guys from Jacksonville or whatever. No shots to Jacksonville. I don't even know that they're from there. Like, I don't get this. This doesn't. They're not big enough to me to cross over into what makes sense for this, in my opinion.
So you're out on it, John?
yeah, but that just because I'm not a Dude Perfect guy, but I
Right.
understand why they would do it. It's like, Noah Eagle, who does a great job calling the Clipper games on the radio. Noah does that thing for NFL games, the Nickelodeon game with the slime
Sure.
and the thing, and I would never watch it, but I get why they're doing it. They're doing it to get little kids to watch football.
Sure, it was actually kind of fun, though.
Yeah, but he
Nickelodeon
did
was
it with
fun.
Nate, who was a football player. Like,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a sensible tie there for me.
Bobcat.
All right, so Janice Garcia is very, very excited today. She posted a video of Derek Jeter on her Instagram story. and
Janice is
tagged-
a gigantic Yankees fan,
yes,
by
and
the way.
tagged Derek Jeter in it. And Derek Jeter liked it.
Really?
It's
Really?
a huge, huge deal for her. Not only that, she posted a picture of her saying, "Look, Derek Jeter liked my tweet or Instagram story, and he liked that too."
Wow.
So big moment for Janice Garcia. So the question is, who is the biggest name that has liked a tweet of yours? Tweet, because I don't think you use Instagram.
Chance the Rapper once
Wow.
liked a tweet I had when I said that "What Up With That" is the best sketch in SNL history. Chance the Rapper liked that tweet. Very big day in my life. Huge day in my life, actually.
All right, two things come to mind. One time I was on the air talking about Alex McKechnie, who is in the NBA. Alex is an expert on. He's the guy that cleared up Shaq's abdomen. He does core neutral, which is this big. He's out there with rubber bands, and
Right.
he's a physical therapist to the stars, basically. And I was explaining what Alex does, and Phil Jackson was starting to tweet a little bit, and he tweeted, "John Ireland's right about Alex McKechnie, huge difference maker."
Nice.
And I thought, wow, that's good. Ooh. And then another time, a friend of mine sent me a picture of a fire lane. It said fire lane, and somebody spray painted Kiffin after it, so it said Fire Lane Kiffin at USC. And I just sent it out, and Keith Olbermann retweeted it.
Oh no!
And basically
KO.
then he's got like a goofy following.
That would ruin your week.
Yeah, and so all those people got into my world, but those are the two that popped into my head. Bergman, did anyone retweet your claim that a pistachio is not being able to open a nut is the worst thing
Who
ever?
didn't? Clayton Kershaw did.
Yeah, right.
LeBron James did. It was a huge, huge moment.
What's up with that?
That's a great.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I'm right about that being the best SNL sketch of all time.
It is. It's a
Let's just be
fantastic
clear
sketch.
about that. But
do we need to play the cowbell sketch for Clinton?
not as good. What up with that is the funniest.
Oh no,
thing.
I love that, and I love.
They should make a movie out of What Up with
I
That.
love Sudeikis dancing.
Sudeikis is the best
in the jumpsuit, in the tracksuit. But if you've never seen Will Ferrell and Christopher
I've seen
Walken
it.
do the cowbell
I've
sketch,
seen it.
if you can keep a straight face after watching that, then I
couldn't.
I mean,
excitation.
I got a fever, and the only thing that'll cure it is more cowbell.
It's a great one. It's a great sketch.
Yeah.
It's a great sketch.
Yeah.
They should make a movie out of what up with that though.
And the only prescription is more cowbell.
I
got a fever.
They had that run, Greg, where they were making movies out of every other sketch on SNL.
Yeah.
Don't know how What Up with That didn't get a movie.
Oh, they absolutely should make
Not
it.
happy about that.
Jorge, you had
I'm trying
one?
to think of has Kenan Thompson. Look, come on, man.
You guys, this isn't that funny to me. I mean, like, it's funny, but like, my favorite Will Ferrell is Robert Goulet. Just so we know, Goulet. He went on the Tonight
Harry
Show
Carey's
as
way
Goulet
better.
once.
Yeah,
He's
Harry
much better
Carey
as
is
Harry
great.
Carey.
Will Ferrell's
Goulet
Harry
is
Carey
hilarious.
is outstanding.
Wait, Jorge, you have one?
Oh yeah, Julio Cesar Chavez. I posted a picture of him
Nice.
and Tyson and whatnot, and he ended up liking it. Not just liking it, he follows me now. Julio Cesar Chavez follows me.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
By the way,
see him out at the Sunset Room.
T-minus 11 minutes, Bergman, to the trade deadline.
Yeah, nothing's happening.
Bobcat.
All right,
Doesn't
Jorge, what
seem
you got?
like it.
Okay, so I drive by this building every time, and I've never been to it. The Disney, the Walt Disney Concert Hall. Have you guys ever been there?
Spectacular building.
Yeah.
I've been inside one
I've
time.
never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's
Never.
great inside too.
Where is
Even in
it?
the outside, yeah.
It's like a mile from here,
But where?
downtown. Like
Like what else is in here that
Just
I
a
might
concert
have?
hall, right, John? Is it
yeah,
just for
it's if you were to drive into downtown, like where all the height of right where you get on the 101 off of downtown, it's right there on the right.
that futuristic like metal?
Oh, that's
building.
what that is.
That's,
Okay,
yeah, that's
all
what
right.
that
Yeah,
building
I
is.
got you.
But I've never
Okay.
been there. Like,
Me
is there
neither.
any other venue you've never been to, John?
What's that?
Is there any other venue you've never been? Like, I mean, you've been there, but is there anything
Yeah.
in LA that I haven't been to? A
I've
lot
never
of
been to
venues
the
in LA.
Getty Center. I drive by it a lot, but I've never been inside it.
Really?
I wouldn't mind going to that. Yeah, have you?
Yeah, the Getty's beautiful.
You know, they have like a multi-million-dollar security system there that if the mountain, it's on top of a mountain, and if the mountain catches fire, because they have millions and millions of dollars of artwork in there, immediately a fireproof enclosure goes over the dome, and so everything around it would burn, but the Getty wouldn't burn.
I actually knew that. One fun fact: the one venue I hadn't been to up until Saturday was the Rose Bowl for a game. So that was.
And now you may never go back.
That was new. No, I'm going back.
One way in, one
You
way
can
out.
walk.
I'm going back.
Janice
on my feet.
is in there going, nope, I've seen it, been there, done that.
Love the Rose Bowl. I love the Rose Bowl. It is beautiful. It's a great place to see a game.
Bobcat.
All right, we're going to move on. UCLA, and speaking of the Rose Bowl, UCLA and Under Armour had a 15-year, $280 million contract.
Yeah, at the time they signed it, Greg, it was the richest contract for any school on a merchandising deal in the whole country. And the reason why they never paid it. They went to court over
So
it.
let me ask you about. Go ahead, Greg. Finish the story.
All right, Under Armour pulled out of the deal and forced UCLA to go to Jordan Brand, which is a way better thing for them anyway. So now, after 6 years of arguing, they have settled on just under $68 million after UCLA was looking for $200 million. Who got the better end of the deal here?
Under Armour. I mean, they promised to pay all that money and just basically welched on the deal.
Yeah, but if you're UCLA, you get the money back that literally takes your athletic department out of debt. That is part of that story. Martin Jorman, incredible job out of him. And B, you don't have to be with Under Armour. You get Jordan Brand.
Right.
Like, it's a double win in that part. So I didn't realize that the breakup that they had, I hadn't occurred to me that it was there was that much animosity.
Oh, it was
you know
a
what I mean?
lot.
I realized that it was a problem, but I sort of thought UCLA was going to take that as, all right, well, we're with Nike anyway. I didn't realize they were still in court over this. This is a massive win for UCLA.
By the way, breaking news update. The Angels have just traded Noah Syndergaard to the Phillies.
Oh, so the Phillies are officially making moves.
Right. They're
Which
trying
is weird
they're
'cause
trying to
they
win
fired
now.
their manager earlier
Among
this
the people that the Angels got back in this deal is a guy named Mickey Moniak, who was the number 1 overall pick in the entire baseball draft a few years ago. They're also getting a second prospect, so the Angels are all in on selling. They traded Brandon Walsh, and now they've traded Noah Syndergaard.
Got another deal that just came through.
Okay.
Robert Murray says the Toronto Blue Jays are acquiring right-hander Mitchell White.
Really?
From the Dodgers for minor league pitchers.
Wow, why?
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by this one too. But Mitch White, maybe they're moving Mitch White because they're gonna get somebody else.
I think we should keep an eye on the next 2 minutes or next 8 minutes.
Yeah, why don't we call Mace?
Something's gonna happen. You only move Mitch White if you're gonna bring in
Correct.
another pitcher.
Unless you know you're getting
down.
Dustin May or Walker Buehler back for sure. Because Mitch White has been good. Yeah,
It's a little surprising.
Something's up here.
I'm a little surprised by that one too.
Something's up here. You got one more, Greg, or no?
Bobcat. Sure, why not? Do you want me to do something about Subway sandwiches or kick it off the planet?
Kick it off the planet.
Kick it off the planet. This one's very, very difficult. I wanted Mason to be here, but it's okay. Matthew Stafford or Aaron Donald?
All right, that is, wow, that's a good one. Because, Clinton, as we've talked about on many, many occasions, if you don't have a good quarterback, you're not winning the Super
Stafford
Bowl.
way more replaceable than Donald. No, that's an easy one for me. Easy one for me.
You don't win the Super Bowl without Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
You don't
But
win
you
the
can-
Super
you-
Bowl
you-
without Matthew Stafford.
Quarterbacks-
You don't even get out of Tampa without Matthew
quarterbacks
Stafford.
Or a dime a dozen.
So which
Dudes
one is
like
it, John?
Aaron Donald or not.
So we're going with the Wolf if we
Yeah.
run.
Or you got to go find someone else.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say he's imminently replaceable. With who? Who are you replacing Matthew Stafford with?
Any of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league?
No, but you
Maybe
have to
the
go.
other guy who's a quarterback in Los Angeles.
Yeah, but wait a minute. You've got to trade for him, and the Chargers aren't trading
I
Justin
get
Herbert.
that, but I'm just saying in the theoretical concept of kicking somebody off the planet, you're
Right.
not finding another Aaron
All right, so
Donald.
Matthew Stafford, God forbid, retires today. Okay? Who's your quarterback?
I don't know, but that's not what we're talking about here.
Well, you
I didn't
gotta
really,
kick- same thing,
I'm sorry,
same
I didn't
thing.
realize kicking off the planet had legitimate NFL transaction
Oh,
rules.
no,
To what we're
absolutely
doing
it does.
here.
Just pick one.
This
Yeah,
is a
just pick
real
one.
kick
I
it off
picked
the planet.
Donald. Yes, I'm not kicking Donald off the planet.
Having said all this, Clinton's right.
Yeah,
You
come
can't replace Aaron Donald. He's irreplaceable. As much as I would hate to give up Matthew. By the way, the stupid question, Bergman, is going to cost us from getting Kelly Stafford on her birthday when we're at Rams camp tomorrow. But
we
I
kicked
would
him off the planet?
Yeah, we just kicked him off the
Oh,
planet
maybe I'll
for
have to
no
show up.
reason.
Maybe I'll have to show up and offer it, break bread. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever you got to do.
Yeah. All right. I'm 5 minutes left. I don't understand this Mitch White trade. I think something else is coming.
Okay. I mean, maybe,
Don't you, Greg?
I do.
I don't think it's much more complicated than maybe we know Justin May's coming back. I mean, if you get something else for it,
Maybe.
it's not
Maybe.
that- I don't think it has to be that serious, but you never know. We'll see.
All right. All right. Coming up next, we will get into the entire day in Major League Baseball trading. The deadline is 4 minutes, 25 seconds. Back with it after this on the ESPN LA Lakers radio network.
$3 o'clock on a live imaging Tuesday, Mason in Ireland. Also, MLB trade deadline What do we got? 3 minutes? 2.5?
Exactly
yeah,
20,
2.5.
2 and 20 seconds, yeah.
So when you went to break there, now unfortunately we don't have the tape, we can't turn it around, but you locked out, as we call it in the business.
Yeah.
You said you're listening to the ESPN LA Lakers radio network. Are you just warming up for the season?
Yeah, what happened there? Did you know?
Did I really?
You
No.
did.
Yeah, no, just
2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. I'll play.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Boston good
Amanda.
Amanda
Okay,
Brown
so
just
that
popped
is
in.
a
He just popped in.
That is a reminder that on October 3rd, the Lakers are back on ESPN LA, but it was a completely unintentional. Hey, Bergman, is this something? Yankees are trading Jordan Montgomery to the Cardinals for Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader's not terrible, is
No,
he?
he's not terrible. It's it's just a move that's going to help each one of them. One's going to get an outfielder, the other's going to get a pitcher. Yeah, it's fine.
All right, so
Nothing
all
major.
these things are coming in.
That was a no on the Is That Something, by the way.
Pretty much.
I'm not here for the sports. I'm here
I
for
was
the
going to
biz.
say,
So,
I have other
Yeah,
non-sports
well,
that
you
talk
guys have been
Morales
having this
about.
debate online, you and Bergman and Sedano, with some guy that's
Sedano.
mad at us for not talking more sports.
Oh, yeah, that was yesterday.
No,
So-
he's back. He's back.
Oh, he's
today.
back?
Yeah, he's back.
What did he have to say
commenting
today?
That he just wants all sports all the time, which I know is the opposite of what you want.
Well, I think
You
there's
want
a
to mix it up.
There's a healthy medium. But listen, yesterday was
Thanks for listening,
interesting.
fool.
What now?
Right. He said, thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday was interesting because while we all sort of had a mental recharge day, I had to do a lot of work, not on air, but behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
But this guy was going off on Twitter. The amazing thing is yesterday, instead of recharging, Corporate Greg
Mm-hmm.
was on Twitter nonstop, responding to everybody out there, which I do appreciate because some people were confused.
Yeah.
But then Sedano and I had to jump in and help him out.
I responded to that tweet too.
All right, so Syndergaard gone. He's going to the Phillies. Juan Soto's coming to the Padres. There are 30 seconds to go in the trade deadline. I don't think, Clinton, that there is any other giant bomb about to go off.
No.
But it appears that so Soto will be the biggest name to move. Ohtani did not move. And I think if you were going to pick a big winner today, it would be the Padres. They were able to get Soto. They were able to get Josh Bell. They were able to get Josh Hader. I think more than any team, they improved. You know, they went from 22-1 to make it to the World Series to 8-1
Is that
today.
so? Yeah. No, I mean,
You know, just in one day.
I think the Padres, there's a lot of people that act like, oh, the Padres trying to be like the Dodgers, this, that, and the third. Yeah, they're trying to win the World Series. That's what's actually happening. And they're giving it a pretty good effort, I would say. Padres are an exciting team right now. I think that with the addition of Soto, obviously they've got a 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, if you looked at the Pods' potential lineup, Profar 1, so let's see. Who do you bat 2 in that situation, Greg? Greg's
Well,
not listening.
they may.
Soto probably bats 3. Tatis is second.
Yeah, I think you go.
What do you go? Who's your
Man.
cleanup hitter? Is basically what the question is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have it?
Do you
as,
hit Machado cleanup, or do you move him up to like second?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
That's a very good question.
And that's a great problem to have if you are.
Yeah, I think if you're the Padres, you want to hit those guys 2, 3, 4 because you don't have anybody else that's gonna get on base so often that you could hit them 3, 4, 5.
I would agree with that. But it's not easy, and it's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. All right, so it is now officially over. The Major League Baseball deadline is
That
coming
doesn't mean
up.
things won't be announced. I feel like
Pencils down,
yeah,
Clinton.
that's pretty much what it is. But I think once some results come in, we'll probably get news here for the next half an hour or so.
That's what normally happens.
Yeah.
Is these tend to trickle in, but so far, Padres are the big winners. Yankees got some guys. Dodgers only make really. They send 2 guys out that were playing a lot, and I wonder. I'm trying to think. Jake Lamb is gone. He's been traded to Seattle. Mitch White is gone. They replace Lamb with Joey Gallo. I guess White's just going to be replaced by one of the guys like Dustin May, Blake Trinan, Walker Buehler. One of the guys coming off the injured list.
I think that's fair.
Is about the best we can.
Who did they get back for him?
We
Greg?
can tell.
For Mitch White?
Yeah.
They just got minor league pitchers. They didn't say who it was.
Okay.
And I wouldn't know who they were anyway.
Right, gotcha. There are no names. Obviously nobody big or not
No.
just cash. Okay.
The Royals have traded Whit Merrifield, who is a very good
He's
outfielder.
an extremely good outfielder.
But they haven't said where he's
He's
going.
He's going to Toronto. He's going to the Jays.
Oh. Interesting.
So
the Jays, by the way, amongst the non-elite teams, so to speak, they're right there. The Jays, you could see the Jays make a run in October for sure. For sure. It would not be completely out of the question for the Jays to make the World Series, in my opinion.
But if you're the Angels, why are you trading any pitching? You don't have any pitching.
He was only on a one-year deal.
The logic,
Yeah.
the logic of their front office at this point is beyond me.
Which is why you trade Ohtani.
Yeah, but that's exactly why I wouldn't, because that guy's pretty good. If I'm in Anaheim, if I'm in OC, and I know that this is a loser team, but I've got one guy that plays every day. Reminder, let me finish this sentence, Greg, because that guy that you're talking about does not play every day. I'm keeping that guy for no other reason than to respect my fans.
And he'll just walk away. It's okay.
That's fine, yes, because you've got 3 years of the best thing going in baseball, and you're not doing anything otherwise anyway.
Yeah, we're waiting to see if any more trades roll in. The trade deadline ended 3 minutes ago. So we're keeping. Sometimes what happens is these trades take time to get revealed.
Is that enough sports talk for you, guy?
Here's something that's not sports related that I wanted to ask you about. Did you guys see this? A company has created a ring that you would wear on your finger that is a tap-to-pay ring, so you wouldn't have to carry your phone or your wallet.
I've said this for years. If they could put a chip in my wrist so that I didn't have to carry a wallet, I would do it in a second.
But aren't you still always going to have your phone?
Sure, maybe, but like
so
the
tap
phone,
to pay with your phone.
The phone that's a different matter. You know what I'm saying? The phone doesn't have my ID on it. The phone doesn't have. I mean, the phone tap thing is.
You could put your ID in
I
your
guess
phone.
That's true, but it's not really the same thing. But the phone, I'd bypass the phone too if I could. You know what I'm saying? If I could do all this stuff with just a wave my hand, Ben Kenobi style, that'd be awesome.
Bergman, a ring where you could tap to pay. Is that a hit or a miss?
Nah, it's a miss. I can do all that stuff from my phone already.
And it's not like you're going to leave your phone behind. Everybody already, for example, here in our building, we need our phone to get in the building. It's tied. It's tied to access here, so you always have to have it.
I'd love to go retinal scan on everything. That'd be great. Just look me in the eyes, and I'm walking out of here with it.
Are you Mason, like reincarnated? I don't need things in my eyes. That's enough.
Yeah, and Mason says he wants to put a chip in his brain.
That's a little much for me. I could go in the bloodstream.
Okay, so here's the
bloodstream.
Bergman, you just mentioned that Whit Merrifield, who's a really good outfielder in Kansas City,
he's been injured a little bit.
is being traded to Toronto. Ever since he's been in Kansas City, he's come out and said he's not vaccinated. To play in Toronto, you have to get vaccinated. So that's something that would have to be negotiated up front, right? There's no way Toronto's picking him up if he's not getting vaccinated, are they?
Because then he wouldn't be able to play at home. So that doesn't exactly work. That's a good point. I forgot about all those guys in the Royals who did that as like a blood pact or whatever. They had like 13. They had like 13 of the 40 guys in the league that weren't vaccinated or whatever. Weird bit, but
yeah. So I would think if he's being traded there, he's going to have to take the shot.
This is a funny tweet. Nice of the Blue Jays to give Whit Merrifield a shot. Ba-dum-bum. Okay. All right. Shouts to J.A. Taylor, my boy. He covers baseball. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's interesting that he's now going to. I would think he has to.
Yeah, I would presume that he has had a change of heart now that he is on a good team, because that was also the team that said maybe this would be different if we were actually contending. The actual Royals front office said that about their players and their vaccination status, which was awful if you're a Royals fan, but at least they're telling the truth.
You know, very quietly, the Padres just picked up another bat.
It's a great pickup by them.
Brandon Drury, he's not bad.
No, Drury can play.
He's in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And the Reds just fire sale every year.
Well, the Reds, bro, you talk about a team that is destroying their fan base from the inside, Greg. You think the Halos or something.
He's hit 20 home runs, Clinton, in 92 games.
Yeah.
With a 128 OPS plus. He's good. And the Padres are,
good.
They're the Monstars now.
Yeah. They're doing what they should have done. You know, they're acting like a Major League Baseball team. You know, you can't be mad at that. And for all these Dodger fans who seem to think that the Padres trying to compete is some sort of insult to their existence, if you're that good, you wouldn't be worried about it, and that makes the team better in the division. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe getting a little heat on your team helps the Dodgers when it comes to the postseason, Greg. You don't necessarily want to be cruising in to September thinking you got everything together if you don't.
I have no problem with what the Padres are doing. And also what it shows is that small market teams can do this. San Diego's very much a small market. So all of those other MLB teams that are in the tiny markets that they say they can't do, look at Tampa Bay, look at San Diego, that are going to be players for the next couple of years or even for much longer than that. You can do this other places. So all these people that say, oh, the Dodgers and the Yankees are just these big market teams that spend and spend and spend. Well, look at what the Padres are doing. Look what the Rays are doing. It's totally fine.
Do the Dodgers get back to San Diego this year?
Yeah, they actually haven't played.
No, they play this weekend.
Yeah.
No, in
Sunday Night Baseball.
In San Diego?
I think so. Greg, look that up. But I know they play this weekend. They're at 7 o'clock Sunday night.
Oh, man. I want to go to that game. I was going to say we should take a trip down there, Greg, and go hang out with Cappy and go to a Dodgers-Padres game.
That would be very fun.
The Dodgers acquire minor league pitchers Nick Frasso and Moises Brito for Mitch White. So 2 minor leaguers for
White. Yeah, those
White.
are non-guys. Yeah.
Frasso's from Torrance. So he's a
cool.
local kid.
Shouts to Torrance. That's where we went to do our batting practice before the ESPN 710 softball game.
But boy, I'm really
Dodgers Padres here in LA.
I thought that game was here. So when's the next time the Dodgers get to San Diego, Greg?
I'll have to look it up.
Look it up and call Cappy, and we should go down there and watch a game.
That's an unbelievable ballpark.
It's pretty great. I mean, the best part about the ballpark is the neighborhood around the ballpark.
Yeah,
it's
Gaslamp Quarter.
Like, the ballpark is great, but they've got one of the best setups in the country for, like Wrigleyville and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't get much better than San Diego's.
September 9th, 10th, and 11th, we have our golf tournament on the 9th.
Okay.
Wilson Contreras and Ian Happ, both expected to be traded by the Cubs, were not traded. They're going to stay. So not everybody who we thought would move is moving. The trade deadline just passed 9 minutes ago. So I would think that anybody that would have been traded we would have heard of now. But Brandon Walsh gone from the Angels. Noah Syndergaard gone from the Angels. Mitch White gone from
the Dodgers.
Yeah. Boy, I can't believe I said Lakers radio.
Can we talk about that?
Where did that come from?
You didn't even, that was...
I'm trying to watch trades, and I think I just went on autopilot.
So here's how it all went down. Go ahead.
Back with it after this on the ESPN LA Lakers radio network. Yeah, that was just me, reverting to somewhere else in my brain.
That was so random, because normally, for those of you who aren't watching on the stream, typically when it gets to the end of the segment, I get up and I walk to the other side. I got up and walked to the other side and heard Lakers radio network.
What the
I was
hell?
like, what are we doing today? That was funny. That was very funny.
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay, so look, Greg, I have a separate, while you're still reading through, reviewing, I have a separate question I want to ask you about what happened this weekend, Greg.
Okay.
And what you would do in this situation.
Okay.
So when this date ended, we went to another location.
Clinton went to the Rose Bowl this weekend. It was a mini disaster, right?
No, it wasn't a mini disaster. It was just the amazing race. That's the best way to put it.
Okay.
And so upon leaving the Uber, she left her phone in the Uber.
That was a mistake.
This is a good one.
So the two of you are leaving it together.
He's playing You Don't Know My Name. Anyway, so and we're going into the place, and at some point she realizes I don't have my phone. At that point, Greg, would you have done what I did, which was F the phone, we'll figure it out later, or would you have gone into immediate that's not actually what I did. What I did was I sent a text to the phone to tell the Uber driver, if you get this, call me tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you can find out who drove it.
What would you have done? Would you have gone into immediate, if it had happened to you? Would
Like
you
me
have gone
personally?
into, if you had left your phone in an Uber in a situation like this, would you have gone into panic mode, or would you have, let's just say, completed the deal?
No. Well, see, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Well,
wait. There were some decisions to be
if
made.
If that decision is made, yes, I complete the deal and then try and figure everything out. But my life is in my phone.
That's what I'm saying. And I give this person a lot of credit. She was
and
like,
the answer is always complete the deal.
I'll just find it tomorrow.
That's right.
I was like, all right, So I was pretty impressed at it. That was pretty big.
No, wait a minute. How couldn't you get a hold of the? Oh, you ordered the Uber?
No, she had ordered the Uber.
So how did she have the Uber driver? How did you have the Uber driver's info?
I texted the phone and was like, yo, if you get this, email back, or because you can also check your text messages on your computer if you have a Mac, because they're synced up. And the guy texted back just the exact number that he was on, which was pretty smart.
Angels just traded Racel Iglesias to the Braves.
Good pickup for them.
For Jesse Chavez and Tucker Davidson. Okay.
Back end of the bullpen help. That is a very nice deal by them.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, and Iglesias is pretty good, and he's not all that expensive. $16 million. Yeah, that's pretty expensive. Come to think of it, $16 million if the Braves taken the remainder of his contract.
Right.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay, we'll wrap up the trade deadline. It ended 12 minutes ago. By the way, we have Game of Games coming up this hour. It's my game today. And Greg, nobody in the core show has any points yet, right? Didn't Laura win once?
Laura won one. I think Beto won one, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be maybe Clinton wins today and keeps the streak alive.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Maybe nobody in the core show wins the 10K for this month.
Yeah, that'd be a first. By the way, have you ever done an interview? I'll ask this to Clinton when we come back. That you wish you could take back. Somebody in our world did that this weekend. We'll share it with you next. Mason and Ireland not on the ESPN LA Lakers radio network.